Hey, everybody, welcome to 20 Sides to Every Story. We're going to get started here with our Spelljammer game tonight. In all seriousness, though, tonight we are doing our finale for Spelljammer. So, this is the Light of Xaryxis campaign. And to recap, for the party, too, because we missed a session last session, where just to ratchet up the tension, what the party has been doing this whole time is they've been trying to save the home planet of Placebo and Ichabod. Their home planet of Macopia has been threatened by the Xaryxian Empire. It's been infested with all of these life-sucking vines. These crystalline vines have been draining the life out of Macopia. It's the home planet of the plasmoids, or at least one group of plasmoids in our setting. I saw the cat, and we they've been trying to figure out, like, first of all, why is it happening? How can they stop it? Can they reverse it? They've been told they can't. They've been told they can, and so there's been this whole big long journey, and it's led them into a resistance against the Xaryxian Empire under the idea that Princess Zadali, who is vying for the throne with her brother, they're vying over the throne. Princess Zadali has basically told them, if you come to the capital and you get me in front of the font, the astral font, and I've got my ring, I can do a ritual that will sever the connection between the star and your planet, which will save the Xaryxian star and your planet, which will save the planet. So they've been told that. So Dolly was captured. They have just brought her ring back to her. I'm pretty sure they gave her the ring. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So she has the ring, and they're caught in this dispute. And the current moment is before they can really, like, enact any change. Basically, the plan hasn't really necessarily fallen apart, but the prince and the princess, who are vying for control, have now they basically have entered into a trial by combat, and the parties agreed to represent the princess, but the prince, being the current person in power, has called upon the family Zodar. And so the Zodar is this obsidian being that has it almost looks like a person in a suit of armor, but it's basically a block of living obsidian, some kind of alien creature that you've never experienced before. They're incredibly rare, often considered associated with celestial beings, harbingers, and that sort of a thing. And there's one that's been serving the empire, and uh, Zelith, the prince, has called the Zodar down to be his champion, and he's so confident he's not giving him anything else. He's not going to send in soldiers. He's not even trying to make it a fair fight. It's not a 4-on-4. It's going to be just the Zodar against the party. And the idea is that if the Zodar wins, Prince Zelith becomes crowned the king. And Zadali is, whatever is going to happen to her as being a traitor, essentially. Maybe executed, who knows. And if the party wins the fight, if they defeat the Zodar, Zadali becomes the queen. She becomes the empress, and she has promised, if that happens, that the party will be rewarded, and they will be their planet will be rescued. And so we're in this big fight, the ultimate moment, and that is where we're going to pick up. So before we do that, just because it's been a little while, party, do you want to give a one sentence description of your character, what's up, their class, race, the whole deal? And we will start with Alex.
All right, gotta click all the unmutes as Arthur is babbling, not so far away from me. So, hi, I'm playing Zephistopholes, the Thrycreen Ranger, level 8. And in a sentence, Zephistopholes is a bounty hunter who lacks childcare. And so he tromps around the universe with his 200 so kids. And they help out.
Yeah, I like that spin on it, that it's like a structural inequality thing, that you don't have resources to raise your kids. You're a working dad.
It's tough out here. Everybody's a bounty hunter, It's like,
yeah, that's now canon. There's all these bounty hunters with their children following them around that they have to. Okay, cool, very good. So let's move on over to Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan Garthok,
Koraz. He's a 8th level sorcerer and a Thrycreen. He's a little bit nuts. He doesn't make much sense. He rambles on about the Phlogiston Spectre all the time, but he's here with his friends, and he knows that his friend's planet has been threatened. He's kind of staring at this Zodar, clicking his mandibles and getting the crazy eye.
Absolutely. And Koraz is the other. So there's the 2 Thrycreen in the party, because of course. And then we get to see the 2 plasmoids, or is that what they're officially called? Plasmoids, like ooze people, like oozes?
No, we are plasmoid. We are not ooze people. We are plasmoid.
So it has fundamentally changed my opinion about oozes. I'm so normally very scared and opposed to oozes, and now I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's a sentient ooze. Speaking of though, Placebo, you want to tell us about yourself, or Robyn?
Okay, I'm playing Placebo, who is a level 8 monk and is a plasmoid. She's a small plasmoid, and she basically just aims to please, wants to help out the party. She is a bubblegum pink color because that seems to be a color many humanoids enjoy, and wears a special mask with a nice smiley face on it because smiles make people happy too. And it's her implement of mercy because that's the type of monk she is. So that is Placebo.
Cool. Yeah, and Placebo is done well in arena fights. That was she made a name for herself. The last arena battle, so hopefully this will go well. And then Ichabod.
Yep, I'm David. I play Ichabod, who is a level 8 plasmoid bard from the College of Eloquence. I'd say he started out as a gentleman and a scholar, but after roving the astral sea and investigating various wild space areas, has learned some harsh truths about the rest of the, multiverse, and now kind of realizes that sometimes diplomacy requires a firm hand. So he's definitely all in on this final battle to try to save their homeworld.
Very good. And you have a nice little top hat.
I do. I wear a top.
How's your top hat looking? I haven't been checking on it. Is it is it frayed up? Or is it like we've been keeping care?
I don't know if any of us have prestidigitation. I don't. So it probably is looking a little scuffed up. It's not quite as dapper as it was in the beginning, but it's not like there's holes in it or anything. He takes care of it.
Nice. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and get into our session for the day. And I can't remember exactly where I left off, but I think what we'll do, just for the sake of the most coherent scenario, is you were taking, I think, a short rest, and Dolly had explained a little bit about the Zodar and kind of the situation in front of you and the rules of combat and all that. And I don't know if I told you this because I misread this initially. But Zadali is going to warn you, we won't role play it out, that in the center of the arena is you're basically fighting over the astral font. In the center of the arena, there is a beam of light. Oops, hold on. That I'm just marking as a little template thing. So it's there in the map. And she has told you that this is a connection directly with the star. Oh my gosh, how do I resize things? Let me try again. It's a direct connection with the Xaryxian star, and which is the source of the seeds that are polluting the planets. It's the source of evil. It's the source of power. And this floating citadel you're on has a beam of light that's connected from this point into the heart of the star, and it powers this astral font. It provides this magical ability, and she tells you about this because the star beam that's connected to this font is essentially a teleport. It works like a pathway to and from the center of the star, and she would already warn you that the Zodar is immune to it. In case you would ask, can we just shove them into the starlight? You would know that if you end your turn there, you will be sucked into the. Sorry, I shouldn't lie about this. You'll be sucked into the heart of the star instantly. So you probably don't want that to happen, is what she would tell you. So just letting you know that is a situation with that.
Which means he's going to try to make us end our turn.
Who knows what the Zodar is? Zodar is a mysterious being. Let me actually move this to, I think I need to like, is there a way to like move templates? I feel like there is. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Trying to get more properly centered. That's close enough. Okay, a little bit lower. Okay, there we go. That feels good. So that's where the beam light is. And what I'll say is that like it, you have to be fully inside it, and it has to be, you have to end your turn there. So if for some reason you end your turn there, you will be teleported into the center of the star, which I don't think is survivable for any of you. But are any of you immune to radiant damage?
No.
Okay. Then, yeah.
I get advantage against harmful gas and vapors.
You would be able to breathe on the moon. I mean, on the sun, for that half a second that you were not incinerated.
I'd be like, "Oh, am I dead?" Huh. For a second, I'm not.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll get to feel that real good.
And what you'll know is, and I think this has already been explained to you as well, but water from the font, basically, if you drink it, you can, if you basically you drink it, and if you pass a saving throw, you can cast a spell. And it could be it's a 7th level cleric or wizard spell. So you understand this is like a really powerful, like source of power for these elves, that they're using this water to cast all these sort of like powerful spells.
We know what happens if we don't pass the saving throw.
You cannot cast the spell, and Zali would tell all this stuff to you. So I'm not going to like narrate it out, but you will take a lot of damage.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will also warn the party that we got a cat today, and so yeah, my kids talked me to a cat when I was like drinking beers a couple nights ago. So they caught me when I was weak. So we have a third cat, and so there may be some little chaos. I heard some chaos happening earlier. All right, so that is the context, and you're going to be led into this arena. And I think we had gotten to this point where basically you're in this arena that's formed up over the font, and for mechanic purposes, the circular area around the arena is a wall. It's like a 10-foot wall. So there's some enclosure component, but it's not like you couldn't escape out. You could climb the wall and get out of here if you really wanted to. And ringing the wall are several of the elf honor guard. They are just kind of positioned around, just like you see on the map. And you will also know that there are 3 of them that are holding the princess. So she's sort of presumed guilty in this situation. If you do successfully win the fight, she is then proven innocent, essentially, kind of the way that this is going to go. And the fight is being officiated by this fellow up on the platform. I don't know if you can see my ping. He's a star priest. He is essentially like overseeing the rules. And I think he was the one that was there when the challenge happened. So I think you met this priest. And that is the context. Any questions before we kind of get going?
Do we get the impression that if we were to leave the arena, that the guards there would try to keep us within it?
So you would know, these are all rules, right? The rules of the contest. If you leave the arena, you're out of the combat. So you can't like leave the arena and like shoot lasers into the center, basically. Yeah.
Question answered.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna go 240 feet
Question
away. Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna go and fire lasers. Okay. So let's see how we go. And so before the party kind of gets situated, and as you're kind of like moving in, Princess Sadali is going to give a rousing speech, and essentially she will kind of like address the crowd as she's being essentially arrested, even though she's innocent. And if you recall, you had beseeched the crowd. You had basically like challenged the order of Zelith and the elves, and sort of suggested there's a better way forward. We don't have to destroy these planets. There's a different way to live. And you were kind of like proposing this alternative future. If I'm sort of paraphrasing, but that was sort of the general gist that I think Ichabod was leading with his really high charisma rolls, and it was mostly successful, and it had pretty much had the effect you want, and so the crowd is kind of on your side at this point. In fact, the entire reason the trial or combat was challenged is because the Zealous was feeling the crowd slip, and rather than let the crowd slip, he wanted to like invoke this sort of like ritualistic rite. And so he's hoping that he'll be able to sway the crowd back by like proving his rightfulness with the Zodar. And of course, it may backfire because he may win, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So that said, the Princess Zadali, she's going to kind of like, start to like talk, and the priest is going to give her a chance. He's going to hush kind of the crowd and the guards and say, "Let her speak. Let her speak." And she'll just say, "I know that what we are suggesting about the future is terrifying to you, but I tell you now that if you let a madman like my brother Zeleth run things, you will regret the consequences. Just look at the chaos he has brought to our doorstep." And she points at you, the party. He's like, "This is his lack of leadership. And I promise to you that when I am proven to be the rightful heir, that I will reestablish the strength of our empire, but not through conquest and bloodlust, but through negotiation and peace, through a quiet power, not one of aggression." And she's giving this speech, and she goes addresses the party. "Each of you, I beseech you, fight to your hardest, your strength, your every ounce of your life you have. If you can defeat this Sodar, then you will show everyone that you are in the right. And I promise to you that I will aid you." And as she does this, there's like almost this mystical element of this speech he's giving, and each of you will get 20 temporary hit points. And Ichabod, I will allow you to have not cast a motivational speech. I think that does something similar.
Yeah, she's casting it at a much higher level than I did.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, hold your guns on that. So I'll allow you to take that spell slot back, because I feel like that's just a little too sad.
All right, thanks.
Your speech was very good too, brother.
Yeah.
So how many temp did you say? 20?
20. So each have 20 temp hit points.
Her
Probably
hat
gonna
is
need
just
it.
a little better than yours.
Does it still have those other benefits of the
It does
advantage on
not.
wisdom?
So it's just hit
Okay.
points. So if you want to cast it for the other benefits, you can. That was the one thing I was going to suggest.
Ah.
So that's up to you if you feel like the other benefits are worth it.
I'm gonna say probably not. So
But
we'll
if you're going
say
just for the
didn't
10
cast it.
HP.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't like straight up like don't do it, because I thought maybe, it might be. Okay. So anything else you want to do as preparation before this fight commences?
Nope.
As a reminder, this sort of purple thing in the center, don't step in that. And like, to be clear too, it's like a beam of like radiant energy that's shooting through the ceiling and like firing off at an angle to the sun. Like, it doesn't look like someplace you'd want to step,
And where's the water that you were talking about? Is that, I assumed that was in there as well, or no?
It's underneath. So the way I'm kind of conceptualizing it, and this is just so this map can make the most sense possible, is that they've essentially, like, you're on the font itself, and they brought out they've like activated like this ritualistic platform for this trial by combat. So you're standing on this platform, but like, imagine it's like an ice rink. That's not the thing I want to look. Imagine it's like a pool under a like, remember this? Like, It's a Wonderful Life, where it's like the basketball, the dance court, and like the pools underneath it. It's kind of like one of those things where like they've brought out this platform, and the water's underneath it, and the beam is going straight through the platform, this like opening, and it's like filling this like font with like this magical water. So you can't get access to it if that's what you're kind of driving at. Unless you want
Yeah,
to dive into the light.
I mean, I was thinking Koraz would be crazy enough to drink.
That would be kind of fun. I don't know. I mean, dive in the light and like, let's see. I mean, maybe. Like, how fast can he move? Just don't stay in the light. That would be the bad thing.
Or bore a hole into the
That's
platform
true.
and like ice fishing.
Right.
Yeah, ice fishing. That's another analogy. That's a good one. All
Because
right,
like a
so
7th level spell, that's pretty serious. You
it is.
Yeah.
know? Koraz might be interested in dying for that kind of power.
But what if it's like a save that you like? What if it's an intelligence save? Or-
Then I definitely fail.
All right. And I will say to chat, if you are new to the channel, if you I guess if you're new to the channel, it's not going to help you, but you can buy rerolls both for me and for the players if you have experience on the channel. So it's not, you don't spend money, you spend like channel experience. If you've been like lurking or whatever, this might be a good time to come out and spend some of your hard-earned experience on a DM reroll to help you out.
No, player real.
A DMD roll.
That's actually not a bad idea. It's like
Oh, a
canceling a
D roll. That's clever. That makes you roll with disadvantage. I like
Yeah,
that.
I like it. Cool. I like it too. But that's not on the list. You can't buy it. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and roll for initiative.
Oh.
And the Zodar opens with an 18. Oh, dang it.
Well, respectfully, Zodar, I'm a little bit faster.
Yeah, actually, a couple of you. You did well. You did well. All right. So as this is happening, this is very different atmosphere, even though it's sort of arena-like, because maybe this is like the used arena. The combat scenario is very different. There isn't cheering. This is almost religious reverence for the situation. The Zodar is a rare creature, even for, you get the impression, and maybe Zadali would tell you, rare. This is rare. This is a special situation. They're not like hyped up and like woo woo woo. They're just everyone around you, the crowd, the soldiers, princess, the prince, even. They're watching somewhat in trance, somewhat in reverence to this circumstance. It's a rare scenario, but we open with Placebo.
All right. I am not liking this beam in front of me. I'm going to run my full movement to about here. Because I don't want to be by the beam. And I'm going to get squat. Like I'm kind of a smaller ooze to begin with, but I'm gonna like be a kind of like a like what do they call the Jello jiggler? Like more condensed version of myself, and take my quarterstaff, and I'm going to hold my action. And if it comes up to me, then I will hit it with my quarterstaff.
Cool, perfect, very good. And then Ichabod.
All right, I am going to use unsettling words as a bonus action on the Zodar. So he will have to subtract 1d8 from his next saving throw. Then I will do my Bane, but I gotta get closer. 5. Let's see.
Don't go by the light. Stay away from that light. What if he rams you into the light? Stay away.
Well, I gotta get within 30 feet of him, so.
It's the end of his turn, to be fair. So if you get ran to the light, you can still get out on your turn. But if you don't,
So then, yeah, I will do Bane on him.
okay.
And I will do. I'll just do a level 1 Bane because there's only one target. So he's got to roll a charisma saving throw.
All right. And I subtract something from it.
1d8.
1d8. All right. So that is 17.
Yep, he saves.
He saves. Okay. Cool. It just staring at you blankly, like almost like this. It's like kind of hovering off the ground just a little bit. As you're getting closer to it, you can see its little feet. They're almost like stubbed, very chunky legs and feet, and just they're like a couple feet off the ground. And its big long arms with these big, huge obsidian fists are just sort of like languidly dangling beside it. And it like turns and tracks you, but it doesn't really give any kind of expression. And then is the Zodar's turn. So I'm going to check something here because I'm trying to think, what would the Zodar do? Well, the Zodar is going to do something. So it can't get to Placebo. So it's going to fly up to you, Ichabod. And it's going to swing at you with a fist. So here's the attack. Oh my God, it's almost a crit. 33.
Yeah, it's going to hit.
Not gonna, as Alex was saying the other day, I'm not gonna even insult you by asking. And the damage on the hit is gonna be 25. So this big obsidian fist, it was kind of languid. It just suddenly strikes you with this unbelievable speed, and just and it punches right into your chest. You feel that temporary courage just sapped right off of you by a punch. And then it throws a well, let me actually check something real quick. I guess it just says it does do this. So then I need you to make a DC 21 Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Oh wow. that is fortunate. So you get this like punch, cracks into your chest, and you feel this like energy that's starting to like basically fling you. And you're able to resist it. Maybe some aspect of your like magical concept, but you will take half this damage. So you'll take 12 points of damage. And unfortunately, you start feeling confident, like, hey, I just took that hit. It turns around and then just twist and haymaker with the other fist. And that'd be a 34. And it's 25 damage. Are you still up?
Yeah, I'm still up.
All right. Give me another DC 21 Constitution saving throw.
All right, hold on. Let me subtract this first so I don't lose track. 42, 25. Brings me down to 17 hit points. All right.
So you got to make this save. Make the save. Oh, so close. So
I do have one more inspiration. Am I able to use that, or is that inspiration only for convincing people to do things?
It's only for convincing people to do
All right.
things.
I'll convince him not to hit me. No. Please, sir.
So, unfortunate for you, it's exactly how many hit points you had left, I think.
All right.
So, you're going to get punched, and then you're going to get shoved, basically teleported up against this wall, 60 feet. And so you see this. And when that happens, Ichabod, you go unconscious. You don't go on, you're not dying or bleeding out. And maybe as like that last, maybe the rest you might have seen this as he goes limp and he goes flying, that the Zodar knocked him out instead of killing him. And when this happens, the crowd doesn't like cheer, but you hear them murmuring. Like this is, like they're kind of like hushed conversation that this is meaningful, that Zodar's already dropped one of them. So you're at 0 hit points, but you're stable.
Okay.
And that brings us to Zeph.
So from our perspective, we don't see him anymore.
No, he's still there. He's unconscious and a little blob on the ground. He's just unconscious.
Oh,
he's not
okay.
dead.
He's not bleeding out. He's still where he was when he dropped.
Yes.
Gotcha.
He's right there.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah, you got shoved against the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, I might be having a yeah, he was shoved 60 feet.
And I'm just trying to process. So you're saying that we would understand that it means he's no longer in the fight?
No, let me rephrase. He does it well, I guess you know what? I'm gonna say this. You wouldn't know anything. You just saw him get punched the fuck out and like fly across the arena. So I'll just say
Okay.
you don't notice anything special. He just flies across the arena, lands up against this wall and goes out like a light.
Okay. So then as a bonus action, I'm gonna cast Healing Spirit there. Which it would be, the healing would actually happen at the start of your turn.
Okay. Thank you.
It'd be
Cool.
6 healing at the start of your turn. And then I'm gonna pull out my longbow. And probably Zeph would just like turn to Koraz real quick and just be like, well, you saw what happened to him. Don't get any funny ideas. Let's go this way. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Move over here. And then I could see through the light, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take 2 shots then through that at the Zodar. Here's roll number 1.
That will miss. Do we have any rerolls?
None
think we have any rerolls.
yet.
So that'll
16.
also miss. So they just kind of like shatter against the obsidian armor.
Uh-oh. That's all I got.
Right. Koraz.
Don't need to tell me twice, Zeph.
That's all I'm only going to tell you once. So that's good.
And I'm gonna move towards Zeph this way. And then I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers at a 2nd level. It should be displayed. BTT. It's a Wisdom saving throw.
All right.
Oh yeah, he passes.
Okay.
So let's see. I don't must take Wisdom save throw. I don't think any on a successful save they take half damage. So I'll roll damage. D6 psych damage. So he takes a whopping 4 points of damage, and then nothing happens. And he doesn't. I was hoping he would have to move because he's not scared at all of me.
Hey Ryan, I think your mic might be gating you just a hair, and it's cutting off just every once in a while on your words. I'm not sure if it needs to be closer or anything like that.
Oh, it's doing that again. It was doing that before. Hopefully, it'll stop now.
Maybe your
Yeah, it wasn't too
Discord
bad,
settings reset themselves or something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then that brings us back around to the top of the round, and we have Placebo.
Okay. So, does Placebo get the impression that if people that are on the edge of the arena were to accidentally die, that would be a bad thing?
It's hard to, without knowing your exact intention. It would be bad if someone accidentally died,
distance
yes.
attack. I have 1 distance attack, and it was a nice little grenade that was given to me before coming down here. But it has
It's
quite a
grenade
range.
time.
So Placebo's holding this grenade, thinking, this might be the time to use this. But then
Look at
she
the
sees
beam.
the guards up here.
With the reaction
And-
we're getting from this crowd, they can't be any deader than they are now.
I don't know the culture that I am part of here.
So, I mean, you make your own decisions about how you want to do things.
Yes, yes, I do. Well, I guess the main
They're
question just would
soldiers,
be,
if that helps the
when
decision.
we were given the rules of combat, was anything explicitly stated that, you know,
Kill only the Zodar.
No one explicitly stated that. Now, did you ask?
Okay. No, I did not ask that question at the time. Um, okay, well, it says anybody within 60 feet, I think. All creatures within 60 feet of the grenade when it explodes. It can be hurled up to 120 feet. I do not want us to explode. My first thought was it would be fun to throw it into the light and have it go to the sun, but the sun is not a creature, and
Mhm.
I don't know how that would work, or the star. But if I hurl it somewhere like here-ish, then this creature would be in range and my friends won't be. So, okay, maybe a little further. I don't want to get Koraz. No.
Probably don't want to hit the princess either.
No. But if those three guys get hit, they shouldn't be standing there. That's their fault.
Hey,
No.
we got spellcasters in the group. They should expect some, splashback.
That's true.
Collateral damage. I can't help. This is the one thing I can do before I go up and have to face this thing in melee.
right.
So I'm going to pull the pin as a bonus action. Oh, turn a special key to arm the grenade, and then as an action, hurl it up to 120 feet.
So this is this grenade that the Mercane gave you that maybe he didn't even fully understand what it did. And you just hurl this like clockwork grenade and it starts to like Rubik's Cube in the air and like form up into like this sort of like it's just whirling and twirling and like whistling as it flies through the air and it lands. And there's this instantaneous this is your bonus action too, right?
Well, the bonus action was to arm it. The action is to throw it.
That's right. And you can hurl those 120 feet. That's pretty throwable. Anyways, and it at the end of your turn, it's going to explode. So it lands and it's just sort of like whirling in that spot in the sand.
And then I think I don't want to be where it will explode, but I'm going to try to get as close to the radius as I can and closer to my brother. I want to try, I don't think this is going to kill it, and I want to be close to my brother to help him out and to kind of distract if this creature gets angry.
All right.
So I'll move there.
So at the end of your turn, it stops ticking and then just like has this like implosion explosion effect and just this fire and electricity and also a lot of strange wild magic bursts out of this grenade. So roll me 8d6.
A rainbow of colors. How pretty.
Roll me 8d6 fire damage.
All right.
And also roll me 8d6 thunder damage. How much health do these guys have? Okay, they're gonna be probably okay. Oh my gosh, those are really good. Okay, so we're gonna start with the guards, and they have to make a dexterity save and then a constitution save. So it's DC 15, if I'm looking at this right. So if this guy fails both, he takes that combined damage of 32 and 38, so that's going to be 70 damage. Is that right?
Yes.
He's also stunned.
That's right. I guess that would be rather stunning.
Yeah, he's just like just electrocuting on the wall and like burning in flames. And then we'll do the same. I'm just gonna say that's the roll for all of these guys, just because to make life easy for me. And they just get like electrocuted and exploded. We'll get to the fun part in a second, but first I want to adjudicate all the damage. So then the Zodar is going to make a Constitution saving throw. And it will pass. Whoa! It's got an amazing con.
Plus 13.
It's
I kind of
immune to the.
figured.
It's okay. You still did a ton of damage to it. So it's immune to the fire, but it takes 20. Wow, I can't do math. 29 damage, lightning strike damage.
Well, no, because if it's immune to fire, it took none of that, and
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so
it
it
would
would be
only
19.
take half of 38. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I messed up the math. Okay, hold on a second. So it'd be I messed up its health. I accidentally reset it. Okay, so it's going to be. It took 4 originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's taking 19. Okay. Cool. Alrighty. So it is not stunned because it saved the throw. But then we get to do the fun part. Robyn, I need you to make 3 rolls on the Wand of Wonder table.
Okay.
So I just need a D100 3 times.
Okay.
Okay. 59, 18, and 97. Oh, that's a really high number. That's usually scary. So let's go in order of 18 first. You cast Gust of Wind. So it explodes, and there's a line of strong wind 60 feet long. And the way this grenade is worded, why did I give this here? This is the most incredible. Any effects that specify target affect all creatures in range of the grenade when it explodes. So I'm going to argue that a gust of wind hits all these creatures.
From the epicenter of where it exploded, they just guys go flying off the walls.
Did we know about this aspect of the grenade?
I don't think we did.
It's right there.
Wonder? No.
I saw it.
Oh, I didn't.
All right, hold on a second. What does Gust of Wind do? This is challenging my capabilities here. Each creature starts in a line succeeding a strength saving throw. So this guy's gonna definitely save. I'll do a strength saving throw, and then I'll do 1 strength saving throw for these guys. And they'll also succeed, so they won't get blown away by the Gust of Wind. I'm just gonna say it just blasts and goes away, as opposed to like having a consistent effect. Then there's a 59, and you watch as this entire like dome of energy that you've blasted into the arena, everything on the ground is covered in grass, just like grass, just like in a 60-foot dome. It's all over these people, not the ground, the walls and everything. It's into the temple, like where the staircase is. I'm just gonna say that nobody was killed in this, like people watching, but actually, well, anyways, you probably wouldn't have thrown it, so it's fine. And then you roll the 97, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh man, if it would have been a 98, it would have been petrified. But a 97, you notice, to your shock, that the Zodar turns bright blue, as do all 4 of these electrified, stunned guards on the wall.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Well.
So it's like this, like kind of a sky blue instead of an obsidian. So yeah,
Okay.
it could have been worse.
That is my 1 range attack, so did not do much, but I tried.
You know what? There's grass everywhere, and there's blue people. It's like the Smurfs.
There was a little damage in there.
There was some mushroom houses.
All right, that is your turn.
That is my turn.
All right, Ichabod, you get 6 hit points. You are on your back, so you'll take some movement to stand up and everything.
Yeah, I'll use half my movement to stand. Take 5, so I get within 60 feet, and I am going to use a 3rd level shatter on him.
I should say the crowd is like, they panicked when they saw the explosion, and now they're like horrified that the Zodar has been turned blue. And then blasphemy. So let's do the Constitution saving throw. This guy's got a tough Constitution saving throw. but he still takes half that damage, and that's how much?
It'll be 9 thunder for him then.
Cool, perfect.
And then I use my remaining 10 to go 5, 10.
That's wise. Nice.
I will actually do a bonus action bardic inspiration on Placebo as well.
Cool. You got that, Placebo?
Yes, I feel very inspired.
Did you go and
So-
step back into the healing spirit?
I don't see where it is. So I didn't. Do I have to be within 5, like the same 5 square, or?
Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
be standing in it.
Oh, okay.
I think it
well,
was. I think
Then it was
right
here.
there. Oh, is it below? One more. Okay.
Yeah.
We can say it there. Yep. Okay. So
So,
you'll
yeah.
get it again.
Okay. At the
Or the
beginning of
thing.
next turn, right?
Beginning of next turn, you can get it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I will sit in the sprinkler.
All right. Let me check something on the Zodar. Oh, it's so damn slow. So the Zodar is going to dash to Placebo, and it just kind of like hovers over the ground and just moves towards you, all bright blue, and it's quite beautiful right up against you. It's like a eggshell blue.
I feel like we are a gender reveal party.
Yes, Zodar.
You always
That's what
wondered
it's
what the Zodar was.
Should I roll these guards into initiative, I guess? I won't roll them into initiative, but I'll say that like after the Zodar's turn, the guards are no longer stunned, and they are obviously they're upset, but you can see Prince Zeleth is like commanding, like, do not interfere. Zodar is winning. And so the guards they put their swords away, and they're gonna kind of like they're gonna be carried off because they're pretty hurt. So we'll say these guards are like retreated. Boop. And then it brings us to Zeph.
Oh, jeez. I guess I can't hex, or the spirit would go away. So I will move 5, 10. Okay, I can get to there. Pull out my. Yeah, I'll pull out my swords. And I'll attack. First with the. Sorry, I gotta equip it, I guess.
So you're going out with the scimitar? You know, let me check something real quick. Interesting. Okay, got it.
No! Alright, second attack. $17?
Oh man, you almost had the 19. The 17 will also miss.
All right.
And again, just the first time you swing wide. The second time you clang off the armor.
I will use my bonus action to swing with the short sword. This is a non-magical weapon. And
I thought it might matter, but I don't actually think it matters.
so it will be this. I'll also use my Swarm Keeper ability to add an additional d6 damage from the swarms.
The little babies.
Oh, babies. 11
Ooh.
points.
They're hungry. So they're swarming around and trying to like find cracks in the Zodar, but it's like it looks almost like a pseudo armor, but it's just a big block of animated obsidian, and they're pecking at it, doing some pretty good damage, burrowing in.
Blueberry.
That's right. It's a blueberry. Anything else?
That's everything I got.
Koraz.
All right. Koraz is going to. Let's see, what is the distance here to him? Yeah, I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers again at a 2nd level. That's a wisdom save for him.
Okay. My bad, I zoned out for a second. I was looking at a stat. Wisdom save. Let's go. Come on. You can do it, Zodar.
Gosh darn it. So he passes, so he takes half the damage, and he's not scared of me again. I just really want to move him away from my friends, but it's not working. So half of 9.
Okay, so that's 4, or do I round up? I forget.
Round
It's
out.
up to
Round
you.
up. I think it's round up, isn't it?
However you want to call it, DM.
All right, I'm gonna round down. So I think I rounded down earlier. Okay. Very good. Anything else? Any movements?
I might, just because I'm not been so effective, I might just move a little bit further back, like that. And that's it.
Okay. Cool. So the Zodar is up next. No, it's not. Placebo's up next.
Yes, it is. It is my turn. All right. I am going to. I'm going to use my quarterstaff to just kind of, secure my position, and I'm going to swing a pseudopod and do an unarmed strike as my attack.
Okay.
So, trying to give myself a little boost. Oh. It's just for flavor. It doesn't actually do anything. But it doesn't actually do anything because I rolled a natural 1. All right, I get.
That's
an
cool though. I
extra
like it.
tap.
Like you're like planting and like.
Oh my gosh, and that's a 2.
Oh no.
I'm gonna bonus action flurry of blows because I want to try to do something here.
What is with the
So-
dice?
I don't know. Maybe I'll roll a 3 this time. All right, that one.
That's
hit?
a hit.
All right, and I will do the damage. 8 bludgeoning, and I'm going to use a key point to do Hand of Harm and do an extra. Let's see if it actually rolls it. Oh, it does. 4 necrotic damage, and then
Okay.
my second blow from flurry of blows. Let's get back to that. Sorry, I have to jump back and forth between screens here.
Good. Good.
All right, there we go.
And that'll also hit.
All right. For a 6.
All right, you do
Bludgeoning.
6 points of damage. That's, I mean, you're whittling away. You're punching like chips of this obsidian, and like you can see, like nothing's like falling off, and you can see like, little cracks forming.
And I would want to try to stun him, but I think no matter what he rolls, he would succeed because he just seems that big and imposing based on the grenade experience before. So
Yeah,
that is
I mean,
how I would do it.
you can look at the rolls in the VTT. He's got a plus 13 to
Yeah,
Constitution
and
saving throws.
that is my DC. So
That's-
there's really no way. I know that's metagaming a little bit, but I guess I'm envisioning Placebo seeing like, wow, that didn't phase him. I don't know if I can stun him. So
We did just
So
get
Glaxian
a. Yep, you got it.
I was say Glaxian has bought you guys a reroll. So that's
Ooh.
good. You might need it.
you think?
Probably.
You're doing okay. You're doing okay so far. Your spacing was good. It's not so good right now, but I think it's going to be okay. So, Ichabod, you're up.
All right, Ichabod's gonna bask in the healing glow of this sprinkler, and take another. So he's up to 12. Man, Bane isn't gonna land. I just know it. So I might as well even just do a little damage to this guy. I guess I'll cast Shatter at 2nd level.
Okay. And what kind of a saving throw is that? Constitution?
That'll be con save. Yeah,
He
dude.
makes.
But he still makes it.
I don't think he can actually.
Even if he got a nat 1, he'd still make it.
I know, right? Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
That's all right. That's still a pretty good amount of damage. 'Cause we're gonna-
Nine thunder.
Yep, 9 thunder damage, and that's effective. Like you remember, the fire sort of like boiled over his obsidian, but this thunder damage definitely is hitting. Okay, do you want to move?
No, I'm sitting in the sprinkler as long as he's not threatening me and get the most out of that spell.
All right. How brutal is he going to be? He is going to first try to punch Placebo. So Placebo, you feel like you kind of like were whapping on him and like with your little pseudopods and stuff, and he's just going to turn around and just like just straight punch you in the face with this obsidian arm, which I'm assuming 32 hits.
Yes.
You'll take 13 points of damage.
Oh, that is
And
not
then-
terrible.
Not terrible. Then I need a DC 21 Constitution saving throw.
Now that's the part that might be a little more challenging.
You have inspiration
That's true.
and a
Yeah,
reroll.
I know it's really inspiring. No, I'll take it.
All right. So you're gonna take 29 points of damage,
Ouch.
and then you're gonna go flying 60 feet. But you're not. You're actually not getting punched 60 feet. You're getting teleported 60 feet, and you get. It feels like you're. Basically, he's just gonna like fling you. That's kind of the way I'm gonna like conceptualize it. But it's like a magical fling. Like you and poofed over there, and then he's gonna turn around and he's going to punch Zeph.
Sorry, Zeph. I wish you would have gone for you first. Then I could have done something.
I know. We were trying to get the
Ooh,
combo
annoying.
going.
All right, 17 points of damage, Zeph. Keep in mind you got those temp HP. Don't lose sight of that. And he punches you, and you take the blow. And then he kind of impassively looks at you, and then you can see his face turn to Koraz. And Koraz, I need you to make a DC 21 Constitution saving throw.
Oh, okay. No biggie.
He
Yeah, I don't think
knows.
I'm gonna re-roll that.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. Well, if you hit a nat 20,
No, forget it. There's no way to do it. Yeah. Damn it. Jesus.
so you will take
What is he doing to me with impunity?
17 points of damage, and you're teleported right next to him.
Oh no!
Like he's like pulled you in.
Like, Koraz, I told you to stay away.
Zeph, you're up.
Oh. Well, I'm just gonna keep slashing. Here's the first one. Oh. Second one. 21?
That hits.
So I'll do the regular damage, and then I'll add a little extra from the swarm on that. So D6 for a total of 10, and then I'll do the offhand with the short sword with my bonus action. 16 will miss.
Miss. Yep. Yeah, and it's just hard to get past that armor, but you're making some progress, and there's little babies all over it, just like biting into it. And it turns and kind of regards you. Any movement?
No movement.
Koraz.
Yeah, Koraz is gonna kind of look at Zeph and be like, I don't know how I ended up here. I'm calling upon the power of the Phlogiston Spectre! And he's gonna turn himself invisible.
Oh, that is the power of the Phlogiston Spectre.
Good play.
Okay, cool, very nice. And I'll just flag that on you.
And then, yeah, I think what I'm also gonna do, right, or actually, I'm gonna use before I do that, I'm gonna use 2 sorcery points to make that a bonus action spell instead of a full action.
Okay.
And I'm gonna cast that, and then I'm going to take a swipe at him with whatever crappy melee weapon I have, and then I'm gonna get as far away from him as I can.
Cool. I'm gonna put the silence token on you just to remind me you're invisible. Yeah, so take a swing.
Yeah, let me see what I got here. I have a quarterstaff. I'll just see if it hits him.
I mean, it could. It's mechanically possible.
I don't think so. A 6
Now it's a
probably
6,
doesn't
though.
hit him. So he's gonna feel a little like just like a touch on a boop on his nose.
Would it be
And
an
then,
advantage though?
I guess it would be, right? Would it be advantage because I'm invisible?
Are you doing it from invisibility? Because you would break your invisibility, right?
He casts
No,
greater
we're not.
invisibility.
It's greater
though.
Oh,
invisibility.
it's greater invisibility. Oh, yeah. You have advantage. Yep.
Oh, okay. So I will roll that again.
Nice.
A
good spell
16?
to have. No.
Okay, so he's still gonna get a boop on the nose, and then I'm going to move as far away from him as I can with my movement, which will be probably about there.
All right. Placebo.
Okay, as I get flung towards the wall, I turn into a little ball so my jello can bounce off the wall. I will use Step of the Wind and my movement to get back into position over here because I can't quite
wow.
make it otherwise.
Damn!
Bonus action. Step of the Wind, bounce. And then I will use my action to try to smack him.
Hit him.
Yeah, going to try. 22.
That hits.
All right. I will do 6 bludgeoning, and I will do the Hand of Harm with another key point for 5 necrotic. And then my extra attack. Ooh, that also
That hits. Starting to get some good rolls now.
for 10 more bludgeoning.
And as you cross these last few punches, right, you land on this creature, you definitely see like a crack open up on the chest. You want little children's like getting in there and like tearing apart. And Zelith is getting agitated. He's going to step forth and sort of chastise the Zodar to like, go for blood. Stop trying to knock them out. Kill them. You obey me. The Zodar turns and looks at him, and he turns back to you, Zeph.
Guys, I think we should just knock him out. He's not trying to kill us. Maybe we should knock him out too.
All right, it's Ichabod.
Ichabod, you're up. So 6 points of healing in the spirit.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, 3 rounds is what it was.
All right, so I am going to just try Vicious Mockery, just why not?
Okay. Wisdom saving throw.
Yeah.
He's got to be bad at something.
Or he's got to roll low at something. He did that one at some point.
He just needed to roll low, but he did not. He rolled high.
Yeah. All right. And since the healing spirit is gone, I am going to try to 5, 10, 15, 20. Just try to get a little distance, even though I saw him pull Koraz pretty close, but that'll do it.
All right. Zodar is going to get its turn, and it's going to just 1-2 combo again. It's going to take a punch against Zeph. And a punch
and I
against-
can sentinel attack if he's punching against Zeph. I will try to smack him.
I guess he wouldn't know that you were going to do that. So yeah, go ahead.
He will in the future, but maybe not this time. 20?
That hits. And meanwhile, I'll throw a punch against you, Placebo.
Oof.
So 7 damage.
7 damage, and yes, the 19 hits me.
What was my damage?
26. Well, that was the attack roll. Here's your damage. You will take 28.
Ow. Okay.
Are you up?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And Placebo, you will take 24. And just to make this interesting, I need both of you to make a Constitution saving throw. So Placebo, you fail.
You can use inspiration.
I could try. I'm just going to try to use the Bardic Inspiration. See
Okay.
if I can get it high enough. No, it would have been, difficult. I tried.
And that'll be 21 points of additional damage. And you are thrown there, Placebo. And Zeph, you are thrown here. One more. Oop. And again, these sort of like punches you, and it's like you're being warped. Like the space-time around you is like, and you're just like sucked out, but it's like you're being like crushed and then shoved.
I don't like that. That hurts.
All right. And then it's going to move to here. And again, the crowd starts to murmur again. Zeph, you're up.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Hunter's Mark on him.
Okay. Oh, dang, I should have gone after you. Well, he wouldn't know.
Hunter's Mark. That. Taking a shot with my longbow +1. 24 to hit.
That's a hit.
All
It's
right.
6 from the hunter's mark, and then
6 from the Hunter's Mark. This plus the Swarm. 18.
Wow.
Wow. 24 points of damage.
that's a big hit. You needed that for sure.
Nice. Nice
hold on.
job, children's.
He's another one. Does a 20 hit?
On the button.
All right. Nice. Another 14 points. I guess Hunter's Mark too, huh? So,
Yep.
16 points of damage.
And a piece of the obsidian like cracks off at this point with that last arrow. Like a little chunk, just like you find like a chink in the armor in the back, and like it just flies out the back.
Then I'll just strafe over here, and like keeping him in my crosshairs and cheering Placebo on.
All right, Koraz, you're up. You're invisible.
I definitely am invisible, and I'm going to let's see. This spell has a range of 30. I think I can get within 30 of, or maybe I can. Let's see
You
if
can.
I can get.
You're 60, so you should be able to get 30, and then
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna get there, and then I'm gonna pop off Tasha's Caustic Brew at him. It's a dexterity save. He would be at the very end of the line of it.
okay. Dexterity save. Here we go. That's
I'm
one of
hoping
the
because
bad
he's
ones.
Obsidian, it's bad, yeah.
So, it will
Nice.
fail. What happens?
Okay, so what happens is that a stream of acid emanates from me. Each creature in the line, when she's at the end of the line, will be covered in acid for the spell's... oh shit, this is a concentration. Damn it. I guess I turn invisible. Darn it.
Well, here I would all. Well, okay.
That's fine. I'll take it. I'll
It'd
do
be
it.
extra bad. So you shoot the acid out, and it coats the armor, and you could just see that it just kind of like sloughs off of him.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. Cool.
and then you turn. And,
And
you
I'm
We
come
and
out.
I'm
learned
visible.
something today.
Awesome.
It's all right.
I'm great.
And everyone is like mystified when you come back from the dead, you appear like the Flogged Inspector had not taken you. Placebo, you're up.
It's okay, Koraz. None of us have ever seen one of these before. You weren't expected to know. I'm going to step between this creature and my brother and say, just bring me back up when I go down. I'm going to try to
That's the
smack at
plan.
him a few times. All right. Oh, there's the 3 from before.
That's a miss.
Yeah. Oh, 3 and 4 this time.
Oh
so...
man, that's a miss.
Oh,
I feel like
flurry
this
of blows.
this wouldn't be a terrible place for a reroll.
That's true. It wouldn't be.
Well,
1 or 2.
We only have one, but
If you want,
Maybe
I
the-
can take it.
I would say
but
take
I was
it.
gonna-
That'll inspire
All right.
others to fill our void.
All right, I'll re-roll. Okay, that one hits. Right? 25?
Yeah, it hits.
Okay. For 11 bludgeoning, and I will use one of my key points and add some more harm to this. Well, actually, what I can do is, yeah, never mind. I will not do that. I will just use a key point to do flurry of blows.
Okay. There's another reroll bot by the chat. Thank you, chat. Where's Dave when I need him? 9 points for that one. Wandering encounter.
Yeah,
Big Mama comes up. All right.
we never did. All right, so 9 more with the second. So 9 and 9 with the flurry of blows.
Not bad, not bad.
That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. Ichabod.
Oh
Sister
man,
stepped in the breach.
decisions.
I think you should get away. He will.
Yeah,
tell you.
that's part of it. I'm just trying to decide if it's ever worth even trying to having word him and trying something. All right, I'm gonna use my final bardic inspiration to do cutting word again on him. So let me throw that into the chat, hopefully. Unsettling word, sorry, not cutting word.
Okay. And that's the one that forces it to, like, he loses on his saving throws, right?
Yeah, he has to. It's a D8 that he'll have to subtract. And I think I am going to. Probably won't make a difference with that, but I'm still going to try my final 4th level spell slot. I will do Shatter.
Did you cast it twice, or?
I didn't mean to, but
That's
did
okay.
it twice.
So Constitution saving throw,
Low.
and he rolls a 2, and then it's a D8
Yeah.
subtraction.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually did
Whoa.
something.
So does he
Yeah.
fail?
He fails and takes. Well, my first roll was 22, so he takes 22 thunder damage.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna run.
So you cast Shatter, and it blasts the back of him as he's sort of like squaring up against Placebo. And Zealous is just like, Prince is just ranting at this point. And when this blast hits him, the dust and the grass, I guess it's all the ground, settles and floats through the air. It raises its arms to punch Placebo, and it just slumps, and it drops to the ground inert. And that blast was enough to knock it out. Knock it down.
Whoa.
And the crowd starts to murmur, and they starts to like loud conversing and talking, and there's chaos. Prince Zelda looks at the prince. I mean, not the prince. He looks at the priest, and the priest kind of like shakes his head soberly. He wanders over to the princess. The guards move to Zelith, including his own like honor guard that was with him, and sees him. And the priest goes to the dolly, holds her hand, and he raises, in the air. He says, "The gods have spoken. Princess Zedali is the empress. All hail Princess Zedali!" And everyone in the crowd cheers and claps. And she steps forward and addresses the crowd and says, it kind of like hushes everybody. At first she says, like, "My brother, the traitor, take him away. He dishonored our father. Tried to send me to my own death. I will be much kinder to him and lock him up." And so he starts to get dragged away. And then she says, "And to my fine champions, I owe everything today to you." And then the crowd is kind of like anticipating her next words and like hushed whispers. And she says, "But now that I am an empress, I have to make the tough decisions. And while my heart goes out to Macopia, and I do promise to find a better way, I cannot endanger my own people and destroy the star. I am sorry. Guards, seize them." And the guards that were on the edge of the wall hop into the arena. And she starts to kind of walk away.
I'm shocked.
There was the inevitable double cross.
Yeah.
Double cross.
I don't think any of us are shocked.
How could this happen?
And what all our spells?
Oh, I took 3 of the guards out of commission, you guys.
Yeah, that's
Good call on
a
the
good
bomb.
thing.
All right, so we'll why don't we play this out with initiative, because I'm kind of curious exactly what will go down. Let's see, because you're pretty
Well,
low. Are these
I think we should put the princess in initiative here too.
Sure.
Oh, I'm gunning for her, so you better.
Yeah. And I'll say that Zealeth is getting dragged off screaming. He's like, "You fools! See, I told you." So his little group was going to disappear out of the combat. And yeah, let's pick up where we left off. So the first guard is going to approach you, Koraz, and he is just gonna try to knock you on the head with his sword. And yeah, this will be like non-lethal damage. Like they're trying to arrest you, but I'm gonna say they're going to go and attack you. So he'll give you a couple attacks. So he's just sort of like harassing you. Assuming that a 24 hits.
Yeah.
So he's like bangs you in the back of the head with the hilt. He's trying to knock you unconscious. You'll take 17 points of damage. And then Zeph, you're up.
Oh boy. I've never done a regicide before. Hey kids, Daddy's gonna spruce up his resume here real quick. I'm gonna throw my hex onto her. Sidali.
Yeah. All right.
And then I'd like to take a couple of shots and see if it works. There's the first one.
17. Oh, whoops. No.
16
hits.
There's that, and then Hex and Swarm Keeper damage, so 17 damage.
Yeah. And the arrow flies true, whistles through the air, and just hits her right in the back of her armor. That you realize she's wearing like a kind of a plate underneath, or not a plate, like a chainmail underneath.
Take
She cries out in agony.
Second shot.
Misses.
Can I use one of the rerolls?
Yeah, use the reroll.
I really want this.
I think we all do.
Oh! All right.
Miss.
Versus
I am gonna move because I don't. This guy, he scares me. Oh, come on. There it is. Okay, that's it.
All right, you hit the princess a couple times, and or with this arrow rather once, and she's like kind of like hunched over. The priest is sort of attending to her, and she like shoos him away. And she turns around and says, "I have to make the tough decisions, but if you're going to make this the hard way, gods kill them." And she will, as her action, she will do this.
She's gonna cast Great Big Liar.
Yeah. She's gonna summon a solar dragon, and it's gonna come crashing through the ceiling. And let me get my token. Where is that guy? Where do I have it? There it is. And it's gonna land in the center of. Actually, no, it's gonna land right where she is, and she's going to mount it. And this is an alternative version of what you bought me as my as a gift. So hold on, players. I'll be right back. Let me get this because I have it right here. So the players bought me a miniature, which I realize something has happened to the princess. She's no longer attached to the prince, no longer attached to the dragon. Or is that showing up? Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. There we go. But there's a little like chair for like the rider and everything. And so this is what you're facing now. Is she's hopped on top, and it is on the real boss fight.
Only until the summoner dies, and then it'll go away. So
is that what it says? Let's see.
I hope so. Can it please say that?
That's what it says.
Oh, it does. It remains for 10 minutes or until summoner dies. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Okay, well this could work.
Yeah.
And then she will, for mounted combat, she'll just fly up in the air. And that brings us to Astral Elf Guard down here, and it's going to come after you, Zeph. 2 swings, and now this time it's not going so non-lethal. 12?
Miss.
13. Dang it. Okay, so it's just hacking at you. Don't worry, I got a few more. And then Koraz.
All right, Koraz is probably going to bop this guy and then use Expeditious Retreat to get the heck out of there.
Oh, I haven't seen that used in a long time.
So I'm going to hit him with my quarterstaff, which is not my forte, but I'm going to give it a shot. 12 probably misses.
Yeah, that miss.
Yep, and then I'm going to expeditiously get the heck out of there to the tune of, oh god, where do I? I'm just gonna go next. I'm just gonna hop next to Ichabod, and I'm gonna be like, I don't know what to do. What do I do?
I got nothing.
All right,
That's
it's
it.
another. Excellent. That's probably the right choice. Thankfully, the Gnomon Guard grenade has chased off those guards. And we will attack Zeph again 2 more times. Zeph.
Please, no.
14, 16.
Miss.
Oh my god. So they're just hacking at you with their like swords, and you can see the radiant energy. Like they're out for blood. But
Tuck in your wings, kids. Tuck in your wings.
So then this guard's gonna step up, this one right here, and he is going to cast a radiant ray at let's do Placebo.
Yeah,
20.
that hits.
All right, so that'll be 32 damage.
Seriously, you guys get stupid longsword attacks, and I'm down.
So the beam just rakes the ground and crashes into you and knocks you out.
Oh man.
The Star Priest is actually going to not do anything. He's actually going to kind of like run to the back and protect himself. And then Placebo, you're out.
Yeah,
Give me a death saving throw.
Define where that is. The attributes page, right?
I think it's on. Yeah.
I found it.
Okay, that's a success. That's good.
Ugh. But now I don't get a turn.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm.
Bad timing. I almost shot Ichabod. I felt like in the spirit of what you were trying to do earlier, that it would be more in line.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'm fair game.
So this guard's gonna come up, and same thing to you, Zeph. It's gonna come up and just like it's gonna fire off a ray.
Don't look directly into the radiant
12.
damage.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm good.
12 misses. Ichabod, you're up.
So, is drinking from the font an action or a bonus action?
I would say it's an action. You'd also have to like get to the font.
Right, that's why I was thinking I could use an action to dash, bonus action to drink, but apparently I can't do what I want to do in a single turn. So
Yeah, because you have to like get in there and like, well, I guess let me think about this. It might actually be here. I actually take it back. I think drinking a potion is an action. If you like unstopper it, pull it out, drink it. In theory, you would just dunk your head in the water, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ichabod's feeling pretty desperate here. We are pretty low on spells. Just saw my sister go down, guards swarming, and dragon in the air. It's time for desperate maneuvers, so I will sprint to the font and as a bonus action take a swig to try to, because I have in my notes that we can destroy the font with the spell if we succeed on a throw.
So
Saving
you have
throw.
to jump into the font, and this is
Okay.
where the beam of light is. So you would have
So
to
you'd
like
have to
jump in,
drink, and then
like
jump out.
swim. Yeah, either jump in and drink, or jump and like swim underneath the platform. Like this is the beam. Like, you don't want to end your turn here. Well, unless you want to, and get sucked into the sun.
Well, it depends if I can do it. Well, I won't. I guess I don't understand the mechanics of what. I mean, do I gain a spell slot that I can then use next turn? Do I?
So
Am I
what'll
able
happen? That's a good question. So what'll happen? So just to be clear too, like what's happening? This covering is like over here. This arena is covering the water, and so for you to get into the font, you have to jump into the beam and like go like almost like underneath it, like you're in a cave. Like under like a submerged water, because like it's basically lying on top of the water. And so for you to get access in there, you have to go underneath. So you got to get like underneath it, like there.
So where he is now, there's no water in the beam.
Well, there is, but there's the beam of light. So
But
like,
could,
Right,
but
so
could he drink the water in the beam and then jump out as long as he doesn't end his turn in the beam?
that's also fine. Yeah, I'll let that. I'll say you could do that.
Although if you stay under, maybe you won't get hit by
Maybe you
stuff.
won't be in the beam and you'll be in the water. Get another
Yeah,
spell.
Either
If
one
you don't
works.
die.
And to answer the question about the mechanics, let me double check this. If you quaff an ounce or more of the glowing water, you have to make a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. And if you succeed, you gain the ability to cast a spell. So I think I would say my interpretation of that is not that you do cast the spell. It's like you gain the spell, so you would still have to use like its action to cast it.
Okay. Well, I will. I mean, ultimately, I need a powerful spell to try to destroy this font, so I'm going to do my wisdom saving throw. Of course.
Reroll it.
Do you have a
Do we have any?
reroll? I think you got one reroll.
We just got another one too, but I'm sure. we don't.
Do it.
Uh-oh.
Do it.
Oh yeah, definitely reroll. Oh, there you go. Nice.
All right.
Oh, thank you, whoever gave us that reroll.
So what you're gonna get, Ichabod, is you get access to any cleric or wizard spell list of 7th level or lower. So I'll let you consider that because you're gonna have to cast it next turn with your action because you dashed, right?
Yep.
But you're underneath, you're kind of like underneath the water. Also, you're drowning, but you probably, you got to turn and when you're holding your breath. Let's
You
put it
can.
that way.
That's right. Oh, Ooze's rock.
Oh, you don't have to. You don't have to breathe water. You can breathe
I
water.
have like an hour where I don't have to breathe.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah. So you're like totally fine. Like no worries. You can just live in the font. You will know that you can only do this once every 24 hours. So this is your one shot. I will also say, because I just want to make sure that I'm clear on the rules. What you know about the destroying the font is you need the princess or member of the royal family to use their ring to cast the ring is a part of the ritual. So it's not the water that like determines that. It's the It's the ring itself. Like it has to be in the water, but it's like the ring is like the power. That's what she's told you, and she's told you royal family has to do it. But you also might not trust what she's been telling you. So
Yeah.
what you should be thinking about is a 7th level cleric spell or wizard spell could be hugely important right here. So since there's a lot of those, I'm going to let you just sort of choose. You don't have to make your answer right now. Just when your turn comes back around, and let me know what spell you've picked.
Okay.
All right. So then we're going to get some more guard action. This guard was going to come after you, Ichabod, but since you are not there anymore, it's going to try to shoot Koraz. So Koraz, that one does not hit you. So that's the action for that one. And then Zeph, you're up.
Wow.
So I really want to keep shooting this princess. So
Yeah, there's still a prince.
yeah, it's not always lost. So I'm gonna end up stepping away from these two guys. So
You taking the attacks?
I mean, I hope I don't.
Okay. All right. First one will take a swing at you, and then the second one, of course, natural one. What is up? All right. Then the second one's gonna take a swing at you, and
Aha.
17. Oh. What is wrong with these guys? They're +5. They're not great honor guards.
They did a pretty good job against me. So,
That's true.
You know, it's just have to have the right target.
I'm attacking Zidaldi. Oh, can I use a reroll?
Yeah, we want to get Zidali.
All right. Is that the last one, or you have one more after that?
No, that's the last one. For now.
Or
Hint, hint.
Ah, there you
24?
go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the weapon damage, and then, of course, I'm doing... You know what? I'm going to do something different with the swarm. So one of the things I can do is I can push.
Oh no.
Yeah.
yes.
So she has to make a strength saving throw or be moved by the swarm up to 15 feet horizontally.
Yes.
Come on, kiddos. Get her.
All right. Here we go.
Please. Ah.
She doesn't have a plus anything. Oh my gosh.
All right.
We need a D roll.
So it'll be 15 points of damage from the hex on top of it.
Cool.
Here's
So
the
that arrow strikes true.
second shot.
Yeah.
26. Oh, 7 points of damage. And X is... Alright, additional 2, so 9 points total on that one.
Yeah, both those arrows are sticking out of her, and she looks like she's not feeling great. But she is going to turn around, and she is going to fly her dragon over you, Zeph. And she points at you in kind of this cold look, but you can see the true visage coming out. She's looking at you with this like disdainful, gaze, and I knew you would not listen to reason. That's why I never told you what my true plan was. But fine, be gone. And she will cast. The dragon will breathe photonic breath.
I knew I couldn't
Photonic
manipulate you
breath.
if I told you the truth.
Right. I mean, if I told you I wasn't going to help you and screw you over, you wouldn't be on board with that.
Oh, you made the save. It's
Oh,
still gonna
nice.
be. It may not matter because you don't have a lot of HP left.
Oh boy. Ziggy.
So it'll be 21.
I have 1 hit point left.
Woo!
All right.
Wow.
That's gonna bring us to the honor guard.
Ooh, I have to make a concentration check on my hunter's mark though, which I probably will not make. So no hunter's mark.
It's okay. I don't think it's gonna matter anyways. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. You've done well with these guys, but I think with the 1 hit point, I got 6 attacks. So of course I say that to
You're gonna miss them
jinx
all.
myself. I know,
I'm
right?
telling you. Yes,
Oh,
come on, baby.
oh my god.
Just take it with us.
Koraz, you're up.
All right. So Koraz is going to summon an aberration, and he's going to summon a beholderkin, and he's going to drop him. I think he's going to drop him like right on top of this guy's head over here. Just to make him poop his pants.
Remind me, are the beholderkin? Is it a medium creature?
Oh, let's see. It says beholderkin slumber. Medium aberration. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it. I remember that being the case, but all right, there we go. So we're gonna drop it right on his head. So this beholder just like pops out of his thoughts, and it's just sitting there, just like, you know, harassing him. He falls down.
And can it do its attacks or anything when you summon it, or does it have to wait till the next turn?
I'm gonna say, well, what does it say? Let's see.
It says at the start of each of the aberrations turns was the only.
I think it takes its turn after your turn, so I think yes. Okay. But let me double check. Should your initiative count takes its turn immediately after yours. Yep. So it gets its turn.
Okay. So he's going to use one of his attacks. He gets 2 attacks, and he shoots like let's see, it's a eye ray, and he's gonna. It's got 150-foot range, and he's going to shoot it at Princess Zidali, the first one.
Okay.
And let's see, what's this in the spell?
Oh, and the priest did not poop his pants.
He's very composed. Look at that. There's your natural 20, Winston. That's a really good time to get one.
Yeah, that's great. Definitely needed it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna use whatever my spell ranged attack, because I don't see an attack for him. So I'm just gonna use like Eldritch Blast for the ranged attack.
Yeah, I think that's how it works, and then we just do the damage. If you're doing multi-attack, it makes the number of attacks equal to half the spell's level. What level is the spell? 2 or 4 or 3?
4. Yeah, he gets 2 attacks.
Got it. Okay. And that hits for sure.
Okay, and so then let me just bear with me, because I'm going back and forth between the spell and stuff to
yeah.
To
It looks like
do
it's is it 1d8 plus 3 plus 4?
It's 1d8 plus 3 plus the spell's level, so 4. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
So it'd be an additional 4, I think, on this.
Yeah. So
Yep.
12.
Yep.
Anything bad happen?
I think they just take damage, and then they do it again, I guess.
Okay. Cool.
I think that's it. That's just yeah, it's just psychic damage, and then I think it's gonna do it again at the same lady, Zidali. I think we want this solar dragon out of here. I'm pretty sure that's a miss. We don't have any rerolls, do we? Is it worth a reroll, guys?
There is one.
There is one more reroll.
Do it.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
I will say, not to spoil the chat, but chat, it's also be a good time for a natural 20 death saving throw. Do we still have that?
That's a miss again.
Aww.
Oh, another reroll. Thanks, Casey.
All right. Cool. Yeah, because we got a player down who is would be good to have a turn this next round.
And then I'll say that too. It gets some movement too, so I'll probably make it move a little bit here. Just like right over there.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, let me see if I can give you access to this guy.
It worked. I did it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so then this guard's going to come up next to you. Alex, and we'll see if your luck is gonna run out. I can't imagine.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
thought it was okay. I thought that was it. I thought I had a 21 for a second.
my
These guys are
gosh.
useless. But I guess if they get one hit on you, then it's bad news. So this guy over here is going to dash up to Koraz. That's his action. The elf and the placebo.
All right.
No one's got points for you. Give me a death
No.
saving throw.
All right. I got to roll a 20. I want to play. Ah!
Oh no! You're
One.
you're so pivotal for the first fight, and then just out.
That's all right.
So
I'm
then-
absorbing some of the obsidian around me, though, so that I'll have like little chocolate chip specks in my bubblegum pink ooze.
All right, this guard's gonna charge up. Same thing to you, Zeph, and then Ichabod. What have you decided?
So I was listening as I was scanning through 7th level spells. How rough does the princess look at this point?
She looks. She's got a couple arrows sticking out of her. She's wincing, but she's still in command of her mount. She looks pretty, but she definitely looks bloodied.
And I don't want to disintegrate her because we probably need her body to toss in the font with the ring.
Doesn't necessarily have to be alive, though.
No, I realize that. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
arcane gate.
You're like throwing all the spells.
Can you just like, cast something that makes her do that?
I was trying, but she's a elf, so she's immune to charm. So these spells aren't
Yeah.
gonna work.
Oh, that's right.
I had like a couple of them. Like, oh, this would be perfect. I can command her. Nope, she's immune.
Horse cage or something like that.
Yeah, you also might want to be. Oh, never mind. Okay, I was gonna say, be careful of save or not save or suck. It's like save or your spell sucks. You know what I mean? Like all or nothing spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, give it a whirl. Could be exciting. Cleric or wizard? Do you want to pause your turn and like let it go another round and then give it a spell?
Yeah, I mean, it's either I do something really tricky that like automatically like teleports her into the thing, but then she might still somehow escape it, or I just kill her. So I probably should just kill her.
Okay.
There's a lot of
And I'll
stuff.
say that you can cast any spell at 7th level. So if it's like a first level spell, you want to cast like 7 magic missiles or something like that. So if you're like deciding like, if you want like a lightning bolt or something, you can upcast it.
I think I'm gonna do Finger of Death.
Oh. You're gonna have a zombie on your hands. What does Finger of Death do?
You send negative energy coursing through a creature that you can see within range, which is 60 feet, causing it searing pain. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. It takes 7d8 plus 30 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. The
All right,
humanoid
here we
killed
go.
by the spell rises at the start of your next turn as a zombie that is permanently under your control, and I can just tell it to
There
walk
you go.
Walk right into the
Wearing the
font.
ring.
the
I
font.
think that works.
Yeah.
So
Dude.
yeah, that is what I am going to do. I'll have to
Constitution saving
probably
throw?
pull that back open in D&D Beyond.
We have one reroll, don't we? Or no, that wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it is a
that D roll.
D-roll, that's what we need. Yeah.
it is a con saving throw. But I'm hoping 78 plus 30, even if she succeeds, is hopefully enough to take out a
Take her down.
queenly astral
Alright.
elf.
So, con is a good choice for her. She does not have legendary resistance. She does not have counterspell.
Oh,
Oh, what's the DC?
Oh.
I'm guessing it's probably 14 because that's what all my other ones have been. So she probably does succeed, but
Yeah, she would succeed.
she is going to take 78 plus 30. So let me roll 78 or half of 78. Yeah. Okay. I have too many windows open.
Yeah, it must be hard to try to pick any 7th level.
Yeah, I was reading pretty fast. All right, I'm gonna try to do it from D&D Beyond because I'm not.
Yeah, go for it.
Come on, come on. This is our Hail Mary.
Seven. Roll for everybody.
Think, and it was 7d8
Yes.
Plus 30, right?
plus 30. Yeah, okay.
Did it come through?
Not yet.
I saw it in D&D Beyond. But I
Yes,
didn't see it.
37. 37. So 67 divided by 2. Or 66 divided by
67
2.
divided by 2, so that would be 33.
Yeah.
Would have been enough had she not saved. But
Oh,
this
we really
necrotic
need
energy,
that
like,
D-roll.
yeah, I know you needed the D roll.
I'm telling you.
You should
We need that
use our
D-roll.
re-roll to make
Reroll
you
to redo
re-roll.
damage. That's
How
the only
was
thing.
your? Well, I don't know how
That's
much.
that's a big precedent to set.
How much have you had to
But
drink, Winston? Come on.
So, okay, I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll let you do. I will let you use this one reroll as a D roll because it's the finale and there's no precedent setting going forward. So I don't even care. Here we go. Here we go. And if she gets it, then that's how it is.
All right, D-roll, D-roll.
So
The D-roll!
what actually happens? Here's how I'm going to explain it because I don't want to make this feel hollow. This is something that was percolating in the background. Placebo would have noticed this had she been conscious. The Zodar has been sort of like over time reconstructing, and it actually, never mind. I'm gonna hold that. It has been reconstructing over time. I'm just gonna say fuck it. You get the re-roll, you get the D-roll, and Princess Sadali fails. She falls off her dragon. The dragon actually disappears, and she plummets to the ground, deceased. And she is what's the rule? She rises as a zombie at the end of your turn.
She let me see. She
Start of the next turn. The caster's next turn.
yeah. At the start of my next turn, she is a zombie.
She collapses, and of course the crowd, like guards, are like streaming to the arena or this little battlefield. Like the guards jumped in are just the ones that were like right there, because like this really takes place over like half a second, half a minute or whatever. We're only been through 7 rounds. More guards are rushing up. The princess drops, and you hear like this cry of anguish. But as I had mentioned about the Zodar has been sort of like reconstructing, and right as she dies, it fully comes back to life, and it hovers off the ground. And when it does this, it opens its booming voice and just says, "Halt!" Everybody stops. And the Zodar turns to address you. And it says, in this booming voice, a very specific message. And you wouldn't know the lore, so I'll just say, it says, "Take the ring of stars into the heart of the star where it was forged, and your world will be saved." And it glows with this ominous light, and it casts the wish spell. And as a part of the wish spell, it explodes. First of all, the Zodar is destroyed, and you are all healed to full health, and you have all your spell slots back. It's like you got a long rest, the effect of a long rest. You could take a long rest. And the Zodar has disintegrated into 1,000 shards of obsidian, and everyone is in shock. and the priest, who is sort of like kind of holding in the back, he steps up and says, "If they do that, if they take the ring to the sun, we're all going to die. Everyone, escape!" And they just turn around and run like mad, and all the guards that are left, they start to flee, and everyone is just like panicking. And basically, what the Zodar has told you is, if you take that ring that was on her hand and somebody wears it and teleports into the sun, blammo. Sun blows up.
Well, I think I
Correct.
should do it.
Correct.
We have a zombie.
Run for the ring.
We have a zombie that's
Oh
gonna.
yeah,
do
we
it
do
for
have a
us.
zombie that can do it. None of us have to die.
Oh,
None
I
of
didn't
us.
know there was a zombie. I missed that part because I
Well,
was
she will.
unconscious.
No, sister, she will come back as a zombie, and I will command her to take it. None of us needs to die
Oh.
today.
At this
Unless
point,
the witch
Princess
brought her back
Zodar,
alive.
she struggles to her feet. Flesh is like starting to like slough off her body already, and she's just like inert and like puppet mode. And you can see the ring just like slips off her finger. It just clatters.
But she needs to wear the ring.
Ichabod is going to pick up the ring and shove it in her mouth, and then instruct her,
real quick.
instruct the zombie to take the ring and go into the font, because I think she does obey my commands.
Let me-
Permanently under your control, following your verbal orders to the best of its ability.
This is not something I anticipated happening.
Oh, really? Didn't expect this astral elf empress to become a zombie at the 0 hour.
Yeah, so here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna allow this because the way the mechanics of this font work is you just have to be bearing the ring. Don't think you have to be like controlling it or like attuned to it. I think you just have to have it.
It's poetic. We were just trying to help her to, like, you know, follow through on her promise to us.
Yes. Yes.
She said she
will
would do
follow-
this, and now she's going to do it whether she wants to or not.
And she will be one with the star that, or the sun or whatever that she really was wanting to protect. So,
When you put it that
The
way,
only
it sounds
thing I'm
real
concerned
nice.
about-
yes.
The only thing I'm concerned about is like that dude did say this place was gonna blow. So should we be like, wait 10 minutes, let us get in our ship, fly away, and then like walk in?
Well, I don't think Ichabod would risk it. There's too many other guards around. Who knows what they're going to do? He's going to stick around until she goes in. So he's sadly at this point, he's like, all that we've done is to save this planet. If one or more of us don't make it out, at least everything we've done will have been for something. So he's gonna make a martyr out of everyone, whether they want to or not. Hopefully, we can still escape. But
It's just a good thing that Crux isn't around, because he would have grabbed that ring. He would have been like, "This is my destiny."
That's 100% what I would have done if you got him.
I mean, I think Koraz was about to do that before seeing the zombie stand up and about to shuffle in there. He was just gonna be like, the specter's in there.
That is what I anticipated was going to happen. Actually, like Koraz is
if I didn't have a zombie, that's what I would have done. So I think we're just all being spared the.
Yeah, this is
Except for
Sacrifice.
Zeph, who's got a whole family. He's got 200
Right,
kids.
right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it.
like, no, I'm done. So the guards are going to flee, and you have this decision, and basically you're in this position where like there's no longer an imminent threat because they're like abandoning ship. And you would gather from like the pronouncement of the priest that maybe not so much that the citadel will be like instantly destroyed, but that it'll be untethered from the sun and will be like, you know, possibly destroyed in the sun's like explosion, like a supernova. But it's not going to be like a instant thing, you know. So you do know that there might be some time to like plan your escape and then order the zombie or whatever.
Can we warn the other ships? Tell them to get go. Well, maybe to come and get us, but also the ones that are fighting, they should leave.
I had a sending spell. Oh, I have my spell slots now.
Yeah.
So I could send a sending spell to one of our friends. To Crux. or something. If we have a message we want to send to him.
Yeah, bring
That would
Crux
be a
here.
Good idea.
Well,
Bring
I
him
think
here.
Crux,
gotta
don't
make
kill
some
him.
zombie.
Come and get us. Or-
Not Crux. Somebody who Winston doesn't
we
want to
have
kill.
we have a ship nearby.
Right.
I mean, if we get on that ship, we might, and who's to say we can't warn I mean, you can cast it several times, right?
Or was Grimzod who we were with? Was that it?
Yeah, Grimzod.
Yeah.
But the person that was actually, I can't remember the name of the person who was the captain
either.
of it.
I don't know if
Or
they
lady.
survived. To be
Kinda
honest with
looking.
you, I think
Skyra or
I think all-
Skydra or something like
I
that.
think she died. If she was up
Rita.
on, yeah, if she was up on the deck, she died, but she might not have been up on deck.
I think she was down below deck.
Yeah, I think you, after all the Eric Cocker died, you're like, yeah, the captain would have been up there.
All
So
right.
you were on Rika's ship. That was
Rika.
the one that was
Yeah.
somewhat close still.
So I would say first, if you want to live, call her to come pick us up, and then tell everyone else just. I mean, they're supposed to be retreating this whole
I hit
time.
the wrong
but-
one. Sorry. I meant to cast
The
sending.
zombie explodes into a
No!
shattered.
I meant
Let's all
to
hold
do.
hands and jump into the light together.
Gonna be at the ending of Guardians of the Galaxy. We're all just gonna sit there taking it, holding hands.
Spoilers.
You don't know what it is. Just that people hold hands at the end.
All right, cool. So, for the sake of, I think, putting a bow on this, you'll be able to cast sending. Rika will kind of like, she's like obviously in kind of some kind of a battle, and like it's like a tense situation, but she's like gonna chastise you, like, you took your damn time. We've been stalling. Meet us on the, outside the temple, and she's gonna make her way there. You have about 5-10 minutes before she's able to make her way back to the citadel, and you've got this zombie Zadali who's just like staring at you, Ichabod. How long does your control last?
Indefinitely.
Forever.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what a powerful spell.
7th
Yeah.
level. That ain't no joke.
It says permanently under your control, following your verbal. It's a necromancer. I mean, I basically became a necromancer at the end of your guys, but
It seems sort of
Desperate
fitting.
times.
Magic. Like they're sucking life out of our planet. You
Yeah.
suck life out of her. It's fair.
I do feel like it's poetic. I think Alex is right. It's what she deserves. Traitor.
And she knew all along. She knew all along.
So basically, yeah, what Ichabod would want to do is stand with the zombie next to the portal, waiting to see how until the ship is close enough for them to make a run for it, and when it's hovering overhead or as close as it can get, he would say, "All right, go in, zombie," and then make a mad dash for the sky ship or the Spelljammer ship.
So that's what was going to happen. So Rika will bring the ship down. Guards and civilians, they're fleeing out to the docks. They're getting their stuff. It's chaos, but ultimately they're not they're trying to get off the citadel and relocate. That they're first of all, Prince Zaleth, he got taken to jail. He's probably out someplace. That there are Xaryxian outposts in different spots. But what's going to happen is you're going to order the zombie, hey, when we go on the ship, whatever. Zadali rather, just sort of shambles into the light, and she turns and sort of regards you. Impossible that you would have any sense of the irony of the situation, of course, as a zombie, but you can't help but feel that maybe just a glimmer, and she's sucked into the stream of light, just like her father when he was sent on his funeral bed as part of the beginning of the ceremony. She closes it, sucked into the sun, and in a matter of 5-10 minutes, as you're getting on the ship, you can see that the star is starting to change, and it is going supernova. Fortunately, you're far enough away because the Citadel is like, if you remember, it's pretty far away from the sun. It was like, I think it's like 300 miles or some crazy number. You're further away than the planets that are orbiting the sun. You're able to get on your ship, you're able to flee, and as you're sort of escaping, you see the star go supernova, and it explodes and wipes out all of the planets orbiting. So it's the home world of the Xaryxian elves.
Kind of feel bad about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, there you go. It also destroys, one of the other planets that's orbiting. The Citadel is actually not destroyed, but you see it untethered. It just sort of like flies off into space someplace. And there are star moths scattering, and the fleet was pretty far off anyways. Like, they were kind of like dragging away. You all are all safe from the supernova, but you feel like the rush of energy sort of peters out towards you as you're slamming into the astral sea, escaping out of Xaryxian space. You will find out later. I think I lost track of where I was tracking this, but actually, nope, I got a table. You will find out later that most of the fleet actually survived. Ooh. So there's a coda on this.
Damn.
We lost. We are down to. Let's see. I did the numbers wrong here. It's kind of hard to calculate off the table, but I think it was something like about half the ships survived. Crux was not just the second wind was not destroyed.
Yeah.
Took some damage. Crux, against all odds, lived. Grimzod barely lived. He was almost scorched to death by the one of the dragons. The prince, as far as you know, escaped, and you have successfully destroyed the home world of the Xaryxian elves. Congratulations! No, but you have destroyed the star that is the source of all of the pain. And the question now is, the Zodar told you would save your world. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I would say that it probably makes the most sense for the Coalition fleet to try to regroup back at Doom Space initially. Are you interested in following them?
Like bring star moths and stuff back? We made promises about spoils of war, so maybe we should try to.
Hopefully they didn't get all burned up by the supernova. Otherwise, there's not going to be a whole lot of scrap to go around.
Citadel's floating around out there. You're welcome to all the spoils of war that you can shake your fist at.
There's a whole star system of garbage for you guys to go and poke around in.
We tried to do this non-violently in a way. We tried.
Hey, thanks for the resub.
Turning into necromancers is non-violent, right?
I mean,
yeah. I don't know that we necessarily knew the star was going to go supernova. We were told hitherto that you just drop the signet ring in and it just stops doing it.
We have deniability. It's totally fine.
Ichabod's perspective, it's like she broke her promise. She's gonna follow through on it. Oh crap! Now things are going supernova. It took out a lot more worlds than we expected it would. But think of how many
we saved all the future worlds that they were going to suck dry. So
at the end of it, by far the highest kill count was Ichabod.
Yeah.
That's true.
By sending us happy.
Yeah,
you're our tank.
Started out as trying to be this nice diplomat. Now I'm just like this genocidal tyrant.
You're like a warlord. So let's and that your spell, once you've cast that spell, it's gone. It's like that energy's left your body and you're back to being your normal self. Let's put from the party perspective, what is it that you would like to do as a wrap up for this campaign? You defeated the Xaryxian Empire, at least for now. In theory, saved your planet. But you have the Doom Space Coalition. What's next?
Oh, I think we should take them all back to Macopia and have a party.
Like the Ewok party?
Nub.
Yeah.
At some point, Zeph is probably going to hand a itemized list of costs and expenses to Ichabod. Like,
Little markup in there.
whenever you get around to it, it's fine.
87 perished children. Okay, you got your itemized list. You go back to Mucopia. Let's pick up the Mucopia. So you get on your ship, and you will take the Doom Space. We're gonna have a party in Mucopia. What you find in Mucopia, I'll go back to the beautiful planet of Mucopia. This beautiful green planet is that you see as you kind of enter the orbit that all those vines that were like choking the life. You don't see. You see that they're like it just looks different, and as you get closer in, they have all calcified and crumbled into rock. And the world, the plant life, everything that was sort of sucking up is like released out from the vines, and the planet is back to its lush self. Creatures and things that were actually killed directly are still dead. There's still great chaos and misfortune and tragedy, but sort of the general life draining aspect has been like returned back to the planet. The planet is growing green again, and you have saved Mucopia. And you will be able to have a party with the Doom Space people and any kind of creatures you want involved in the situation to make it as crazy as possible.
All the Artuk can come and play.
Yeah. The Artuk can be on this half of the planet, the Thrycreen on the other half.
Yes, keep them separate.
I mean, you have to repopulate,
No, I feel like we definitely would open up Mucopia and try to, make it a very, mixed and diverse land with, people from the Doom Space Coalition. Ichabod would definitely try to deliver on as many promises as possible. I mean, you would think that our Mercane friend would be happy that the Xaryxians are kind of no longer a power to be reckoned with. And I don't know, he might even play up a little bit on, kind of like, let this be a lesson to you, keep your word. Like, he doesn't want to be like a super imposing and scary figure, but he, probably would leverage sort of what became of Zedali as a cautionary tale for others who might wish to, again, back out of the alliance or try some shady stuff.
Give me one last advantaged charisma check. This will be your last token you had left over.
All right.
Persuasion.
Persuasion. All right.
We'll just tell the story of this doomed planet, doomed space planet. 27 is pretty good. You get the impression that they are. First of all, they're going to follow through with their word. They made a promise. You delivered. You have a new home planet for them. You eliminated the Xaryxian threat. All the different things that you had said, you were able to fulfill. And they're going to abide. You have a good feeling about it. You feel like maybe things are going to be pretty calm, pretty good. And Ichabod, you will be selected as the diplomat for the Doom Space. Like, they're going to use you as like an arbiter and have you be their like sort of not problem solver, but like their mediator for like various disputes. They offer that role to you if you will take it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. And then for Placebo, what's your hope going forward?
Well, Placebo enjoyed the job she had on the fishing ship. So once things calm down, I think she will go back to work. But if possible, she would like to have 2 little pieces of the obsidian that she absorbed and incorporate them into the eyes on her mask.
So are you like taking it out and like, are you building like just, are these like eyeballs or like shards, or what do they look like?
They probably are not very I mean, she's not the most artistic person in the world, but the dark obsidian, instead of just the circle eyes that were there before, somehow maybe ask someone with a little bit more skill to pound them in for her so that she'll have like glittering obsidian eyes on her mask to remember the creature that helped them save Mucopia. So it's an honor. She finds that creature very curious. So maybe in her travels in the future, just kind of trying to get more of the story. Who was that? Who was that guy?
Who was the Zodar?
Who was the Zodar?
Yeah, and I think that's a worthy quest, trying to figure out what's the Zodar all about. You can have that, and you'll wear the obsidian on your mask, and it looks just a little extra fancy. Looks nice. Maybe a little cockeyed or some, but they've
probably
made it
a little bit. And maybe just a little creepy if it comes rushing at you.
To a pink blob.
I will help you.
Cool. I don't know why I just made the connection like the Spirited Away creatures.
Yep. That's
Maybe we
what I was thinking of. Mm-hmm.
Very funny. Cool. And let's see. So, Zeph, you have your itemized list. Are you going back to bounty hunting? Are you gonna stick around? What are you doing?
This has been rough on the family. So, becoming a bounty hunter and everything, it was great when he was younger, but he's just realizing he's got to transition to something that's a little bit more stable. And he does love cooking. So I think he's going to open up a little restaurant on Mucopia and become sort of a planet-wide renowned chef, particularly of seafood variety. And I think that's what his retirement plan is going to be here from bounty hunting.
Yeah, and you'll be able to totally leverage your celebrity status, and just like
Celebrity
chain
chef
of restaurants, like you could just whatever you want out of it.
Yeah, he'll just like when he's like skewering kebabs, he'll be like, "Yeah, when Princess Zadaldi died, it was just like this."
Dinner and a show. I feel like we should go back and get Big Mama just so we can mount it behind the bar.
That could be the name of the restaurant, Big Mama's.
Nice. Yeah, you got the fish on the sign. And then like Tupelo will come back and visit. Oh, I know who your Ewok should have been. They should have been the Autognomes coming around.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're part of the party, exploding everywhere. Anyways, missed opportunity. Tupelo will come back. Crux will come and he'll visit your restaurant pretty frequently. Zeph, and he will sort of, I don't know, be wistful. He'll drink a lot and just, I almost went out in a blaze of glory, but I wish I could have been there at the final blow, the final fight. But and he's just sort of like reminiscing and like a little in the dumps. But people listen to him, and he's again kind of like a minor celebrity because of his attachment to your crew. And if over time he mellows out and just becomes a normal patron in your restaurant, and you guys see him around every once in a while. Once a year, maybe he like comes to say hi and visits everybody. And he did not die. So I almost was just like, and then Crux died like that, but I wouldn't be earned. It wouldn't be fair.
He has a heart attack.
Yeah, I was saying, right when he lands on Mucopia,
he collapses.
I guess I'm serving too many trans fats.
But that would not be fair. I have to earn it. And then Koraz, how about you? What's your sort of wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I think Koraz, would probably hang out at Mucopia for a little while, but then would grow restless and find himself adrift on the astral sea, kind of searching again for his arch nemesis, the Blogston Spectre. But he would probably be touching in with everybody now and then, stop by Zeph's crazy Uncle Koraz is coming by, does some of these things for the kids, and acts generally crazy and unhinged around everybody whenever he stops in.
So Koraz, in one of your trips in the astral sea, you'll be sort of zoning out and doing your thing and traveling through, and you will you'll hear a voice seemingly in the back of your head and just says, Koraz, greetings. And you see this creature appear. Does that show to you? There we go. Is that showing up?
Let me see.
And it is this spectral being appears before you, and he says, Koraz, I have a question for you. Koraz, are you listening?
Ask away, voice.
He says, I want you to answer a question for me. Who wrote the extremely famous quote, a shark on whiskey is mighty risky, but a shark on beer is a beer engineer? He just stares at you with these blinking eyes.
Tad Ghostal?
Wrong! And he shoots you with a laser. And you will have a battle with the Phlox Inspector finally you've reached him. Still not sure if it's in your mind, but it's happening.
Is there an image that we should be seeing of that?
Oh, the image didn't appear?
No.
Oh no!
I feel like we need to see the image.
Yeah, let me see if it'll show. No one will show the image. Oh, hold on. The Spectre. Let's see if this will. It's like different rules. Let me see if
Nice.
I was wondering.
Oh no, that sucks.
Nice.
Okay. So yeah, the Fox Inspector. It's clearly just Space Ghost. And he shoots you with Eldritch Blast, and you'll have a battle with him.
Nice.
So he will get away, but you will always remember that the Phlox Inspector is 100% real and not your psychosis.
So I think.
That's right.
But
No
he's
one
the
saw
only
it
one
happen.
there to see it.
That's right. Okay, cool. And that is a real quote from Space Ghost that I was looking for. I was like, something asinine to say.
It sounded pretty Space Ghosty.
Yeah.
So that is how we'll wrap things up. Party did a good job with this. Again, I did not anticipate turning Zadali into a zombie.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
I really thought for sure Koraz was going to ride the sun into the fiery death. Just it seemed like even when I first read this, I was like, on session 0, I was like, I bet you Ryan is going to be the one that chooses to die.
It wasn't my
with his
first
character.
thought until I remembered about the zombies. So you weren't wrong.
Yeah, I had the right vibe. I think everyone except for Zeph would have been willing to do it.
Well, it's sort of like that Fallout. I was wondering that too, but then it's like, would you really send your child? But it's sort of like that Fallout 3 ending where they're like, send someone into the nuclear reactor, and you're like, well, how about this person who's radiation? No, it has to be, so it makes sense. We send a zombie, right?
Yeah, I mean
that's how you get around.
That...
I was gonna say that's how you get around elves being immune to charm. You just turn them into zombies. And that's one to grow on.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's genuinely. Obviously, I guess if you're willing to kill them, it's certainly a way around. But that's clever. Yeah, so that was impressive. It was good. I will say, maybe a minor post-mortem on the session. So what we were doing here, what I was doing is I was running the official release campaign pretty much to the letter, and I made a few changes. I will say I actually pulled a change in the last session. That's probably one of the bigger changes. So the original setup, how it's supposed to go, is what the hell is that thing called again? I keep wanting to call it Zorak. That's
Zodar?
Zodar.
The Zodar.
Zodar is supposed to, after you defeat it, it casts the wish spell, and then it's like, go get the ring, and you have a battle. But I kind of felt like it would have been more harrowing if you didn't have that happen until you beat Zadali. So I did hang that back. So
yeah, I
made
think
it a
the
little
way
harder than
you
it's
did
supposed to.
the way you did it was cool.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like we barely beat the Zodar, and then it's like, oh, and now a bunch of extra elves and a dragon. Like, okay, like, This does not seem possible. We gotta do
I'm very
crap.
glad Zeph had an armor class of 20,
Yeah.
like, because you were just
Yeah, that was a
Damage
miracle.
sponge.
with one hit
Yep.
point.
Yeah, I
Oh man,
wasn't
that was
sure.
so
you know.
awesome. When you went down to 1 hit point and then it was just like 4 attacks. Bing, bing,
Yeah.
bing, bing. Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh
those
my
honor
God.
guards, like they're tough if they hit you, but they don't have a bunch. I feel like my gut tells me that they should have more to their attack. Like they should have like a higher proficiency or whatever the heck it is for monsters, like the additional bonus on the attack rolls. But
It
I
was
guess
like
I
a
guess
+5, right? That was
yeah, I guess it's because their
Yeah.
strength is only a +2. They're not really supposed to. I think I was playing them a little bit softer than they're supposed to go. I think they're really supposed to shoot the laser at you. But
that's
I don't know.
more effective, and it was a higher to hit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, not
And
by
way more
much,
damage.
but still, yeah, and a lot more damage.
Probably what I should have been doing, but I felt like I've been playing them as using the sword the whole time mostly, and just felt kind of more like thematic to what they look like. I don't know.
To be
But
fair,
anyway.
if I'm using a ranged weapon, it kind of makes sense to like encroach on me because then
Mhm.
I'd be at
Right.
disadvantage, or I'd have to move away and make that call of taking all those attacks.
Yeah.
like I did the one time.
That's
And that's
true,
kind of
yeah.
my thoughts too. Was they were trying to initially subdue you, and then it was just like, okay, now we're gonna kill you. Like I don't know, but anyways, it worked out for y'all. Anyways, it was close.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy endings. Everyone survived. Well, except for the made-up characters. The unofficial characters like Thumper. What was it Thumper?
Snapper.
Snapper.
Bambi,
Ted.
Flower,
Eddie the Umber Hulk.
Yeah, Snapper
Eddie.
died. Yeah, the Umber
Aw.
Hulk. He
I mean, we
died.
lost a ton of Hadozi and Aarakocra along the way.
Yeah. I'm curious. I was gonna roll one more time on the table. I guess this is like against the rules, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm just what if what's his face died? Oh no, he would have died. Okay, I just wanted to tempt fate because I almost did it. I was like one more, and I was like, but if the one more is Crux, everyone will be sad. But not actually, no one would care. But
We would care.
We would care.
yeah.
So yeah, cool. Well, anyways, thank y'all for the campaign. This is a lot of fun. I told everyone, this is kind of an experiment for me. I think the lesson I learned from this is while I enjoyed playing a lot with y'all, I actually think this style of campaign is not as much what I like, which is interesting in the sense of like it's almost a one shot in how roady it is, but it's not a one shot. You know what I mean? And it felt like I was telling my wife about it. If I could have done it over, I would have set up all the same factions and like situations and just like pulled it apart and let y'all just explore and whatever happened. But I was very curious about like, how hard would it be to prep and how fun would it be? And I also was sort of interested in just running it through, like giving it the benefit of the doubt and just play it once. And so I had a lot of fun with y'all, but I do think that especially in light of Dolmenwood and some of the other things I've been doing, that this is one thing I learned is I think that this is too railroady. I think I've kind of changed as a DM after playing it. So this is exciting for me to see that.
Well, it took us 9 months to do it on the rails, so it probably would have been a couple years
Mhm.
if you had done it a little bit more sandboxy open world. But
Yeah, that's fair.
I hear what
think
you're
so.
saying.
Well, because it gives you this. I liked it because it gives a taste of like this is what Spelljammer is, but it does feel kind of weird to be like here's this whole world and like universe and like you go anywhere, but this is what we're gonna do. So I can kind of see both sides of that where like this feels like a good appetizer, and if you really like Spelljammer, then go with kind of like a homebrew or something where you can really explore.
I mean, Winston, we've just touched the iceberg, scraped the iceberg on this. So if you want to roll this into another homebrew of yours, where we go after the Flux Inspector, we have to face off with the Prince.
Princess Medalli's coming after us.
Yeah, he's probably escaped
Right.
prison. I mean, so many.
the second
many plot points.
Death Star. We definitely need that.
So-
Citadel 2.
So are you cool, like kind of like talking a little bit about like your experience in Spelljammer and stuff, if you got a little time Because like one of the things that I see, we got a question kind of from the chat about what's it like being a DM, not being an expert on D&D. Maybe we can kind of like twist that question a little bit. Not being an expert on Spelljammer, like how useful are these books in terms of if you wanted to set out and do a Spelljammer campaign and you wanted to do something more sandboxy, could these books do that, or do you feel like you'd have to maybe supplement?
So I'll answer the two parts. So first of all, this is my second campaign that I've run, and this is even though I've been playing for a long time and I have a really long running personal campaign, so I've been playing for like 4, maybe even 5 years now. I don't feel like I'm inexperienced at D&D, but I do feel like I've never run a campaign out of a book before. So this is my first time doing that, and I will say that my thoughts are, I think a really good. I think a really experienced D&D. I think even for me, like I learned enough that if I wanted to run this again, really true to form, I think I still could have done it and allowed it to have more free form, but be like sorta railroady. My thoughts would be that if you're a new DM, you're going to run this as a railroad like super hard, because part of the problem with this campaign is it assumes a lot of stuff, and it worked out that y'all did a lot of stuff that it assumed, but that's because y'all are good players and you pick up the tells and you pick up like, okay, this is what they want me to do. And if you had like not done certain things, there's there's whole points where it's like after they make peace with the Doom Coalition, like, well, what if they didn't? They did rolls and they did well, but like, what if they didn't? And so like, there's a lot of assumptions that it works. And I think that if you were a new DM, you would struggle to like react to that. Like there's no structure in the books to help you react. Now going back into because I was okay with it, plus it just worked out and like whatever. And then I would say as a secondary point of view, Alex, you were saying is like how would it feel if you're running Spelljammer? I think what I would say is I think that this does a good job of like explaining kind of the tone and the theme of a Spelljammer campaign, like this sort of gonzo, like Flash Gordon style, like this like one way you could take it anyways, right? This sort of Flash Gordon style, evil empire and ships flying around and stuff. But what I would say is that what I feel like there's a lot missing. And I don't know a lot about Spelljammer. I don't know a lot about D&D outside of 5th edition, to be honest. But I will say that one of the things I've experienced is doing Eberron, because my other campaign's Eberron. And when I do Eberron, I go to like 3rd edition and 4th edition rule books for like ideas. And they're like 500-page books on like one continent in like the setting. And it's so much stuff that you could like, it's just infinite knowledge that you could just pull stuff out. And I feel like with these books that were released in 5th edition, they give you a start and they give you the flavor. But what you really would have to do if you wanted to truly go off the rails is I think you'd have to look at 3rd and 4th edition stuff. Actually, was there Spelljammer in 2nd? Probably not, right? 2nd was.
I think so. Yeah, second. I think is where it started.
Actually, it was introduced in 2.5, I think.
It was? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you have to look at those source books and do a lot of like Spelljammer. There's like a really great Spelljammer wiki that there's someone that was watching your campaign a while back that has there's an awesome wiki that you go on. But the problem with that is it contradicts some of the newer stuff. So it would be a little more challenging, I think, if you're new to Spelljammer to like just make a pure sandbox. You really have to like make some judgment calls. Like, do you have crystal spheres? Do you not? And there's also like, I don't know. There's a lot lacking to me in like this ship to ship combat. I just abstracted it most of the time, but I think that could be fleshed out more. But I don't know if that's a disappointing answer.
No, I think it's good to kind of hear what the experience was like trying to plan something like that, or like, thinking through after you've read it. Expectations, I think, are everything. Like this, I think you set our expectations for what this was going to be like pretty well, because I had a lot of fun with it. But if I had thought that it was going to be a sandbox, like maybe I would have been disappointed. But it kind of fit like exactly like what I kind of needed right now in life too. Like it was like, this is the objective of the day, and this is what you're going to go and do, and like I kind of like that sometimes versus, this big unwieldy idea of like you're going to do this like, and we still had that kind of, right, like the kind of the save the universe, galaxy, whatever kind of thing overarching everything, but like each session it was like this is like the little objective or the little slice of
Right.
that you can carve out and do today, and it'll get resolved. And there's like something a little satisfying about that where it's like, okay, feel good, we met our objective, we did that.
Yeah, you never really had to worry that, like, okay, are we just going in completely a wrong direction? Are we wasting our time? Are we... Yeah, so I agree there are pros and cons, and I think, Winston, you did a really good job saying, hey, I'm going to try to run this thing straight out of the book as close as possible, and it's going to end on cliffhangers, and these, we're going to try to do a chapter per session, and I think because we all came in knowing that, we just leaned into it, and it worked.
And I think there was only really one time it felt like, yes, it was railroaded. We kind of got the cues of where we were going, but it was only that one time where we had that like video game style quest that we had to like complete. I forget what it was, like get the turnips so I forget what it was, but we basically just like no-kayed it. And we were like, nope, not doing that. And I think that was the only time where we felt like just way too railroaded. And we kind of let it known, and we all moved past it as a group. So, for the most part, I think it felt natural and we were expecting it. That was the only time where like no turnips.
Big Mama's still out there.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
Mama.
there was a natural urgency just because the planet was in danger. So it wasn't like the railroading was a little bit because of the urgency too. Like we're not going to do like, oh, let's collect
Right.
every feather in the world, like
Let's do a walking tour of the Rock of Brawl.
Yeah.
Which,
So-
I mean, I would have rolled with it and it would have been cool.
We would
I
have
don't.
lost our planet.
I mean, yeah. If y'all bucked against it, I mean, like like the same thing with Big Mom was a good example. You're like, I'm not doing that, and it was like, cool. You're not doing that. Like,
Wasn't
well,
it
you
was
better
Big
kill
Mama,
it.
wasn't it?
Yeah, because she was like tormenting the auto gnomes, or I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
I don't know. I felt the same way, and I read that. I was like,
Yeah.
probably because like it was probably so especially bad. Because like for me, I was like, what the hell? Like, why is this even in here?
Yeah, you allowed us to change course from that like pretty quick. Like
Yeah.
I think it was like one
Yeah.
persuasion check from Ichabod. It was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Ichabod's like, oh, my planet's being destroyed, and you're gonna withhold information because like a fish is like harassing your auto gnomes. Like, yeah, that sounds fair. How about you just like do the right thing?
Yeah. It was strange because like the NPC was like the way they had presented her was like she wanted to help you. It was like, well, this seems weird. It almost felt like it was almost like a trap. You know,
Yeah.
like she was
Well,
like.
and then
setting
she
up.
sends us to Grimzod, who wasn't friendly right off the bat. Like there was that weird lovers kind of like, yeah, you kind of do wonder with her, like, really, lady, are you trying to be helpful or are you just trying to send us to our death?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
The only person who was friendly right off the bat really was Crux, but Crux had other unintentional negative side effects of being a friend of his. So
Zadali was pretty friendly off the bat too.
yeah,
She ended up being really friendly at the end too.
very cooperative.
She was.
Very
You know,
cooperative.
no questions
Gave
asked.
her life.
Didn't say a word.
Yeah.
So selfless.
I never trusted her.
Yeah, that was an obvious heel turn set up.
Yeah, I mean, the player was strongly suspecting it. Ichabod was still trying to cling on to the hope that there was decency out in the universe, but yeah.
Oh, Placebo trusted her, but Robyn didn't.
For sure.
Still does, oddly, yeah.
Yeah. It was very nice. She took that ring and went right in the
You gotta give people a second chance.
Yeah.
in that, yeah, as a zombie,
Yeah, forced second chances.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say this: like, ultimately, I did have a lot of fun, and I have I mean, I think every DM to some degree can be like this, or maybe just certain people. But I get in my head a lot of like, is this fun? Is anyone enjoying it? Is it, and that bugs me because like I know what I would do to make it more fun for me if I were a player, but I think I'd also have fun playing it because you're with your friends and y'all are awesome role players, and y'all do a really good job of this whole campaign of just like rolling with whatever's going on and just making it fit your characters and having fun with it. And So I've enjoyed myself a lot. I enjoy myself, but it also is like in retrospect, thinking back, like, man, it'd be cool to be in a Spelljammer campaign that was like a hex crawl. You know, we were just like flying around different systems and like going to like what was the heck? What's the Dark Sun planet?
Athos.
Athos, yeah, going to Athos and like getting caught up with all that crazy stuff and like getting out of there and then going to some other random system and like Mystara or not Mystara world or like whatever, you know.
Blackmore,
like,
just hit them all. Just hit them all up. Like
Yeah.
the Enterprise, just going to like visiting all of them, making first contact.
Like a crew
Yeah.
member from each space.
Are you familiar with Stars Without Numbers?
I am not.
So that's what you're talking about. We should do it sometime.
No.
Yep. I wanted to do it and have thought about doing it as like a one shot for one of the charity things, but the opportunity just hasn't come about. But I've got some stuff I could share with you if you're ever interested in doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Hook me up.
Is that more
Yeah.
space opera or is it space fantasy or?
It's sci-fi, like sci-fi hex crawl, like you could set up kind of like your, I don't know, galaxy, I guess, and like you could put stuff out there like planets and whatever, you know. There's some tables that you can like auto generate like what's going to be in the hexes and stuff. So definitely do kind of like a Dolmenwood experience, but sci-fi or space themed, or
Space.
you could tweak it and make it
Oh,
Spelljammer themed.
Right after Dolmenwood, it just like really makes you excited for that hex
Yeah.
crawly vibe.
Yeah, which, you know, I will say, like, to some degree, it is nice to be like, I knew there was going to be into this campaign, and I knew what it was, and I think we all knew we were in it for like 10 to 12 sessions, and I think that was nice. Even though, you know, obviously I missed a lot because of work, and y'all been really considerate around that, and appreciate it. And so it dragged out a little longer than we expected, but it's still, you know, nice of an end. And I do understand, like, to some degree, if you're just joining a campaign that's like, we're just gonna play forever, even as a player, it's kind of like, you know, I think, you know, it's a commitment, you know, and it's as adults, that's hard. And I definitely understand like that difference. But I will say, all that in consideration, it's exactly like Ryan said. It's just, to me, it's way more exciting to be a part of versus like a railroady campaign, being a part of a campaign where you can just like do what you want, you know, just kind of explore around and have the world like react to your decisions. So it's been instructive.
Well, I've been in 2 of your games, Winston, very different styles, and I've enjoyed both. So I think you do a wonderful job with the material that you get. So, and they're both good in their own way. So that's the feedback I can give you as
Well, I
a
appreciate
Monday
it.
night player.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always love having you in campaigns, Robyn. But yeah, again, and like I said, like last side, I know I said already, but again, just kudos to the players. Like, I've had so much fun with these characters, and like Koraz the Mad, and Zeph the Dad, and Placebo, and Ichabod, and just like their whole like oozy scenario, and I don't know, I enjoyed the campaign. The characters were a lot of fun, and the art that Jenna put together for the characters,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenna.
Perfect.
It turned out
Thank
awesome.
You, Jenna.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
cool.
It is really cool, and I keep going back to the little card y'all got me, and like I actually have it in my bookshelf. I'm like deciding what to do. Like, do I frame it? What do I do? Like, it's so cool. It's like it was so thoughtful, you know. And my little dragon guy got to make his little appearance. I'm so excited. I don't know what happened to So what happened? I think my 3-year-old got a hold of Prince Zelith.
Well, we don't like him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transported not your 3-year-old, but the prince. The 3-year-old.
Damn the 3-year-old.
He's a menace.
Your other kids are fine. It's just the 3-year-old.
Oh man. Yeah, I was pretty happy with how scary these dragons were too. They were the little photon breaths. That was fun.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was scary when she summoned, and it's like, oh crap, we've seen one of these before.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was kind of
quite
the
a few
intention.
NPCs.
Like there was like there in the model, it's like, yeah, these dragons come out, and I was like, I'm gonna have one get up in their face and I have it be a big part of the fight because it'll show them how scary they are. So when they come back later, Like that worked out. I thought that was pretty.
That was good.
I was thinking the entire time we beat the Zodar, the prince is gonna jump on his stupid solar dragon, and round 2, here we go. Nope, it was the princess doing it.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we can convince the prince, now that the whole world, his whole homeland, is destroyed, maybe he'll have a change of heart, like if the princess can betray us, maybe we can win the prince over,
He's like getting a whole army of like Githyanki to come and like destroy us, like out of revenge.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I have no doubt that he's like really mad at us.
No,
Yeah.
I don't
We
think
destroyed his
so.
empire. He's not a happy camper.
So
He's like like a deposed ex-king of a kingdom that's got like a couple ships left. He's pretty mad.
yeah, that
So
would
maybe
definitely be
after
a
he's
great
been
hook.
humbled.
He's like, Khan!
Oh man.
Yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed that. I also like. It felt good that Ichabod got the big mega spell off. Like that worked out.
Oh
nice.
yeah.
That was cool.
That worked.
That was
and
a
then,
hard choice to make. I'm like, I've never read about half of these spells. Which one's gonna? Like, I can either just
Yeah.
try to kill her, or I can try to like trap her there. But yeah, it seemed like way too much of a risk not to try to kill her, and so might as well use the spell that can maybe be useful post death.
I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
think
so
that
glad
if
it was you.
if you didn't drink the water, if one of us didn't drink the water, I think we would have been TPK'd. I think it would have been.
I mean, yeah,
Really
unless
close.
we couldn't defeat the dragon. We would have had to continue to try to get
It's a
the
dolly.
Dolly. And I'm like, man, if I stay up here trying to like bring Placebo up and just trying to get like an offense, it's just like
Well,
no.
and
I knew the
couldn't get
minute.
to her because she was
Yeah.
on a dragon.
Yeah, I just was
looking
like,
to see if I would die. I've been rolling death saves just to see. I got 2 and 2. Oh, I'm stable. I would have taken a
Yay.
few rounds, but yeah, no.
no. I pretty much the minute she betrayed us, I'm like, I gotta run for that font. Like, there's no way out of this that I can see other than like Ichabod's whole thing was like, I'm here to save our world, and this seems to be the only way is to
Yeah.
And my last
do something drastic. I was hoping I could just get us like, because I was looking at my earlier notes and I think they just were inaccurate, where it sounded like you could drink and then cast a spell that destroys the font. But then yeah, we had plenty of other conversations where she was saying we need the ring, you need her to do it. It just, there was a lot of information that was hard to tell what to believe. So I'm like, all right.
And and the truth is,
kill
you
it.
did not need her, though that wasn't required. That was the lie, but the ring
Yeah.
was true.
Shouldn't have given it to
We
her.
had the ring. We
Should have
should
given it
just
to
hung on
her.
to it.
Yeah, I know, but
She would've
Ichabod
taken it.
hoped. He didn't want to live in a universe where you couldn't trust anybody, so he
Didn't
Made-
want to live in
made the wrong call.
universe.
but
You did make that. You should not have trusted anyone.
no.
It's okay. You now have people that you will on Mucopia, all these factions, and you'll get to restore your trust in
Faith in humanity.
humanoid entity.
Well, no, we got to do better. We will lead by example. We will show that yes, you can still thrive without being duplicitous and selfish.
I promise I will never suck any life force out of planets.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
that was,
Placebo's like, "Are we allowed to sing hymns again? Can we still sing hymns now? Are those real? Are we still on the same crew?
Does that
No
mean I
eating
can't
people.
Yeah,
Does
you
that mean I
eat each
can't
other.
cast Vampiric Touch now?
Oh,
Ooh.
that's a good point.
What level
yeah,
can you learn
she
that
had
one?
the Dolly had 50 something hit points, like 51, something like 51, 52 hit points.
left.
So yeah, left when the spell was cast. So it would have been close.
My next move was I was gonna cast Zephyr Strike and get the fuck like super far away from them, and then I would have had a bonus. I think it gives you a bonus to damage. Like Zephyr
does,
Strike
yeah.
is like
Yeah.
a crazy spell.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a fun one.
Yeah, I love that one. I used to use it all the time with my Rangers, like the dude from the Strahd campaign.
Yeah, yeah,
Luther, was that your character? No.
yeah. Luther.
Yeah, Luther. Yeah,
Yeah.
Luther the cursed wretch or whatever.
Well, Zeph, thanks for revving Ichabod after his initial just knockout round, because I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot to this guy. So before he gets in close, maybe I can bane him. Like, I felt like that was my only play, and then it completely backfired.
Yeah.
It failed, and I just got knocked out in a single round.
And you know what's funny is, maybe not funny, but he has 3 legendary resistances, and I didn't have to use it once.
No.
I guess that is kind
Yeah.
of funny.
He had no problem just shrugging off just about
No.
everything we were throwing at him.
Then Princess
that
Fidelity doesn't have
grenade.
any.
Yeah. Even that grenade only did like 19 damage to him, and that thing was wild. Like, but I felt bad at first that it hit the guards until they swarmed us.
Yeah, no, that was great.
That was better. Then I'm like, oh, good. Then they're not here to fight us.
So, do your little chunks of Zodar, like stone in your eye, are they blue because he died when he was
Oh.
blue, or are they
Smurf blue
black?
eyes.
How long does it last? Let's see.
I mean, if it's the wild magic surge kind of thing, it doesn't last long.
Yeah, I think it lasts for 1d10 days, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
So,
That's okay. I like them better in glinty black anyway.
for sure. Yeah, just check up on some of the chat. Thanks for all the kind words and for hanging in there and watching us play some games. So I guess, I'll do the kind of the close up, as usual. Oh, that's a good question. What did the blue do? It did nothing. So what happened is, some reason, I don't remember how this occurred. I gave Placebo a Gnomon Guard grenade, which is not even a thing that, like, we even had trouble finding it, but it's in some book. And what the grenade does is it does a bunch of fire damage, a bunch of thunder damage, and then it rolls 3 times in the Wand of Wonder table. So it wasn't exactly wild magic. It was the good old Wand of Wonder that could be all kinds of strange things. And it casts Gust of Wind, turned the ground to grass, and then it turned every creature blue in the radius. So
Those
quite
gnomes.
strange.
Well, I just wanted a regular grenade, but I got a fancy one, so that was fun.
Yeah, we got it from the Mercane, whatever. I can never remember his name. He like
Yeah, I
gave
always
us
want to call him
okay.
Bull Fair, but I don't think that's his name. Bull something. Bullcat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cat. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it was a lot of fun. That was cool, and that was part of that came from, like, I think maybe the funniest part of this campaign to me is that you all were like dirt poor the whole time. You had like 5 gold in your pockets. You're just starting gold through the whole
I
entire
spent
game.
all my money on a non-poop barrel. That's
Never poop
my
barrel.
starting funds. Penultimate
I know.
session. All right, time to spend it.
I forgot
Oh my
about that.
gosh.
I think
was
that's the
good.
only thing we bought the whole game.
Yeah,
I think you might have.
some
I think you might have
fishing
bought
gear. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that an herbalist kit maybe. Did
I
you grab?
do have one of those. Yep, because I was going
Yeah.
to give all my gold, and Koraz was like, "No."
We had no money. We got like one treasure that we had to pay off one of Crux's debts with, and that was it. Up until Volcath gave us
We
some.
could have got that Spelljammer helm at one point, but we
I know.
abandoned
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, there was
That
nothing
was a
left. You just
dicey
had to go get
battle.
it. That was it. It was all.
Oh man, so many of the battles were dicey, especially like the first 3/4 of the game. I felt like we were just always swarmed. Like fighting on the deck of a Spelljammer ship is like
Right.
tight quarters, especially for a spell sniper like Koraz, an archer like Zeph, and like Ichabod is like literally and metaphorically squishy. Like it was, we just got surrounded every time.
Yeah, I will say that was I enjoyed that. I felt like the combat was, I mean, I felt like I had parameters to make it dangerous versus like not. Like I felt like I could play with the fights, which is nice. I've always been a fan. Like we were talking about this earlier, that I don't fudge dice. I think it's hard to fudge dice in virtual tabletops, anyways. And I just kind of like, even like in table, I like to roll in the open. I don't know. It's just kind of something that I'm a very transparent person, probably too transparent, honestly. But so I like just like, hey, this happened, right? But what I like to do is have room to have the monsters or the enemies do things that are maybe not the exact perfect thing sometimes, to kind of like keep the combat like interesting, but also like you're not always like spamming the best spell every time or whatever. And I find that there was room for me to do that with most of these fights. Where like, yeah, sure, if I attacked Koraz every single round, yes, I could kill Koraz. But it's more interesting to say, well, these are the guys threatening me. I'll attack them and like kind of like play the game, you know, kind of more conceptually. And I think there's room for that and still keep it dangerous, which is nice. But,
Yeah, definitely felt threatened most of the campaign.
Well,
I
these
mean,
have
it
been,
changed your character's entire outlook on the world. So yeah, I would say it felt
yeah, it was a little too
little
violent. There's a little too much combat on the beginning for sure. I feel
Ichabod
bad.
was just
Ichabod is
naive.
spoiled.
He's I don't know. I feel like he's been through some stuff, but he's not. I mean, maybe a little traumatized, but I feel like he's a more complete and worldly creature now. He probably can do a better job in his role because he's not going to be easily duped.
For sure.
There's definitely no way at the beginning of this campaign that Ichabod would have even considered bringing somebody back to life and like
Right.
forcing
No.
their body to do something.
He would have been trying to cast friends on her and she's on the dragon. Like,
Yeah.
hey, lady.
That's true. Yeah, he definitely came a long way to necromancy.
We all do.
That's
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, I'm gonna do the wrap up then. So, just a couple things. If you're out there in the channel and haven't joined our Discord yet, come hang out with us. We usually are there doing different things. A lot of people in the voice channels, a lot of people streaming games. I think there's a Critical Role watch party that started up that's running right now. They closed up already. But anyways, there's lots of stuff happening. So come hang out in the Discord. And I thank y'all for participating and hanging out in the chat. And Glaxian, like, it's good to see you. Good to see.
Thanks for the rerolls.
And,
Yeah. Thanks
yeah, for real.
reroll.
Like y'all, that made a big difference, which
Yeah.
is totally cool with me. And I even saw a roleplay give, and I didn't say hi. I feel sad now. But thank y'all. That's right. You owe $5. Oh man. Did they guilt trip you into? Oh, that's terrible. But Alex appreciates it. Anyways, that is it. So you are all free to go. We'll wrap up. Thank you. Bye. Enjoyed the game.
Bye, everybody.
See you later. Bye. And we'll toss a raid out to one of our friends.
Yeah, we'll go see Darling Creep Show.
Ooh.
Well, thanks, Winston. Tons of fun. Appreciate you bringing Spelljammer to the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of fun with it too, and appreciate you letting me come on and DM.
And as we're closing out and raiding here, be sure to check out the Eberron campaign. That is the other one that Winston is doing here every other Monday. So next week they'll be back with Eberron. So see ya.